Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection, coming to you live from the Ligony Club in Kingston, Jamaica. Good morning to the staff at Best 100 FM, those who are in studio getting us on air this morning, and of course to those who have joined us on air and online. We welcome you to this very special episode of the Morning Connection, otherwise called Percy's birthday. Good morning and welcome to you, Pastor Percival.
Morning.
Birthday. We were supposed to start with a song.
A song?
Yes. Are you
I'll
ready,
rise.
Noel?
I heard it.
Are you ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Percy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
You're to answer in song.
But really, no. That one is stretching it.
You're old enough to get away with anything.
With singing a song, oh boy.
Oh gosh, we
This-
honor you today on your birthday, man of God.
Yes, thank you very much. And I think the greatest thing was this morning coming down. We normally pray in the morning when we're coming down with the whoever is in the car. And my two boys blessed me this morning.
They sang or they give you money?
No man, no man. I think the blessing in terms of the prayers.
prayer.
Yeah, my two boys prayed for me. May the Lord continue to give him wisdom,
I love the word continue.
Yes, continue. Seeing that he's
That
impacted our
acknowledge-
lives. Yes,
That's acknowledge that there's wisdom already.
yes, them. Yeah, man. Them say. So I was.
Oh, I know you cried. Is that what made you late? Crying in the car?
No, I was right in the car. You know, I was up from early this morning actually
I hope
because
so.
yeah, man, I was up early and then up
I
praying.
was gonna call Michelle.
Praying. No, 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 no. And then she prayed for me this morning. It was funny.
Laid hands on you, I hope.
Just praying and then I was up early, but I'm gonna tell you, these boys of mine, getting them out of the house in the morning is a
Need
a
wisdom.
chore.
Continue to need
Is a
wisdom.
chore and just say, you know what? Don't let your blood pressure go up anymore.
Absolutely. One day their wives will do it.
You understand?
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Oh boy.
Welcome to the Ligony Club,
This beautiful property is nestled in the heart of New Kingston and is the single largest sporting facility in the English-speaking Caribbean. JD's Urban Pub is our resident restaurant. You can trust them with all your catering requirements. Take advantage of our excellent amenities and allow yourself to be pampered by our courteous and efficient staff in the comfort of our well-appointed and welcoming public spaces. You are being invited to make this your home away from home. Take advantage of our full-service gymnasium. Or 8 tennis courts. Feel free to wander through the gardens and enjoy the relaxing atmosphere of this oasis that remains as charming today as when we first opened our doors in 1910, and our large-sized swimming pool. 6 squash courts. In the evenings, relax with us in the lobby bar and lounge. Call or visit us today. We're excited to meet you.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music.
Yes. Oh, welcome back. This morning is all about Pastor Percival for at least 10 minutes.
No, it's not. It's about
At least 10 minutes.
no man. I am good. It's good to be alive. It's good to be alive.
So, of course, I want it to be known that we're toasting the man of God with some aged wine.
You're right.
I want him to know that this is a day for breaking rules.
Don't you always break the rules?
Well, you know, some
He did. Other people
special
that say wonder if if it's something new, because you're always breaking the rules. Yeah, that is in our DNA. Yeah, what
Yeah.
can I say?
I have poured the libation. I don't want the show to go too far without or paying some, proper homage to you, sir, and your attainment of another year
Yeah.
of successful living,
What's up?
setting a fine example such that your own children recognize that there is wisdom present in your parenting and in how you live. A lot of times we just don't spend enough time acknowledging the greatness of the people around us and saying it to them while they can appreciate it and correct us if we are wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're taking a few minutes out of the airtime to speak about Pastor Percival. How am I going to get the producer into the shot? He's coming because we've poured for you as well, sir.
And you notice everybody, everybody need to look on these wine glasses, They are still on their fast. I've broken my fast, but they have. Look at this.
Yeah, so
Look at it. I'm going. Really?
So
Look like me greedy, but I'm not.
All right. Should I start, ladies first? Since I'm the... Okay. Percival.
Yes, my dear
Here's
co-host,
to friendship.
a million years.
Absolutely. The million for me, you've lost maybe two or three,
Yeah, that's true.
right? And to just an ongoing success with your ministry. Your contribution to the show is phenomenal and it's well appreciated both by your co-host here, me, and I think the audience who are fortunate to have your guidance, your commentary, your good humor, your sobriety and calmness as a part of their morning. Cheers to you, my friend.
I remember this.
My brother, cheers.
It's so funny. Thank you very much. As we do the cheers, I remember something in my childhood, but I'll tell you that off here.
Oh dear, I wait on it. I'm only pretending to drink.
You don't have to spill the beans. My brother, what can I say that minute has not already said? Except to say we love you, we cherish you, despite all of the problems that you give me from here from time to time.
Yeah, that's it.
Percy, draw the mic here, so fix the mic, so Percy.
Person, don't
Despite
stretch.
all of that, that
Person,
is
don't
what
scratch.
makes you such an adorable and loving person.
Yes.
Just want
Here,
you to know
here.
that about it. Love you, appreciate you. God bless.
Uh-huh.
Blessings to
Cheers.
you.
Take another sip.
Oh, yeah. May I drink, man? I don't know about them.
All right, my brother. All right, so enjoy. That's
Happy
my
birthday
time in
to
front of
Percy.
The camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
I'll do the vote of thanks after you've done the response.
No, but
Because there are persons to be thanked for this fine arrangement.
of what is happening, but it really, for me, for those, I'm in the process of writing autobiography, and I'm just reflecting on my life. The Lord gave me the tag. He said, simply by His grace, in all of the things that have happened. And I remind persons who are listening, we think of grace as God's unmerited favor. And I've received a lot of that in my life. But I think also an important thing that has happened to me is the definition which comes out of 1 Corinthians 5:12, when Paul was kind of complaining. I've prayed, I've this thorn in my flesh, and I've prayed for it to be removed many times. And the Lord said to him, hey, my grace is sufficient for you, because in your weakness I'm made strong. And the definition of that is God's enabling power to go through the many and varied situations of life. And indeed, I believe this is a year of God's grace on my life. 2 plus 3, 2023, 2 plus 3 is 5 grace. But I also declare over my life that a lot of things are coming to an end. There is a completion, 7 the number of completion. So I just thank God. I appreciate you guys. I see His hand all over my life. That hidden hand just guiding and protecting and just restoring. Some of the time they really figure, oh, me get you so. And then Lord just does things and restores and what happens to those divine encounters with different people or re-encounters with people. You guys are one of those. So I really do appreciate it. And a big shout out to the love of my life, Michelle, who I know is always in my corner, always praying for me. To a big shout out to Miss Hazel, my mother, who if nobody else prays, I know that she's praying. She got up this morning around about 4 or 5 o'clock and she was lifting up all of her 6 children and grandchildren to the Lord. So big up to you, Mom, and to my siblings. Family is family. So a big shout out to Michael and Colette and Colleen and Carolyn and my other siblings. That's Jackie and Richard. Shout out to you. And Cheryl. Cheryl, this morning I got a greeting early this morning from my sister who you met.
Yes.
And she was just saying, I'm good. I'm basking in the goodness, and I'm just saying, Lord, what next this morning? My prayer every morning I wake up, I say, Holy Spirit, what we up to today? And he always comes up with some very interesting and powerful encounters. Some of the times they don't see people again, but you hear it by the way them say, say, that little man there. As some people refer to me, that little man there.
You was a little man.
Them say, that little man there, little man. I say, oh, yeah. In terms of the impact the Lord has allowed me to have. It's a privilege just to be able to interact with people and to be an encouraging word. Because I think of myself, to sum it up, just facilitating persons to recognize the greatness that God has put in them. So I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm glad. Glad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now to the vote of thanks.
The vote of thanks, yeah?
Yes. Glasses and Vintage by JD's Urban Pub.
Okay. Yes, and Catherine.
Location, venue.
Yes, and when I was coming in, Catherine said, happy birthday. Catherine.
Okay, you can call her over so she could sing. By the Ligony Club. The location is by the
Ligony Club with
Which
Catherine.
is where we are this morning for our free-flowing Thursday, celebrating Percy, as I think we should. On another occasion, we'd just have fruits and food of every Jamaican style on the table. So you watching us online would just want to rush home. And of course, greeting by Kathy. I'm calling her Kathy, but do you call her Kathy for short? I mean, you seem to.
Catherine?
Yeah. Oh, Catherine.
Catherine.
You have some greetings coming to you from the early risers. Jackie Big says, happy birthday, Pastor Percy. Thank you. Enough more blessings from Jackie.
Yes, man.
Yes. And we have our usual hail greetings out of London, England. Where is Delroy in England? I keep forgetting it's a big place. We can't just assume that it's England or it's London or Birmingham.
Yes, UK up.
UK up. Gratitude is the intention to count your blessings every day while avoiding, whenever possible, the belief that you need or deserve different circumstances. He says the UK is up. I wonder if UK know that they're up.
Yeah, man, they said, I remember they are striking. People been striking.
They've been on a low.
Been on a low for a very long time,
Yes,
and I find that so fascinating in terms of.
I don't know about you, but I find birthdays to be, I want to say depressing, but that might sound the wrong way. I find it to be a time of deep reflection. It's difficult for me to, fall into a very celebratory mood on birthdays. I tend to be more thinking about the passage of time and, accomplishment of things set or things not done, or I get very distracted by the realization that time is a marching on.
When you say that again, you know that, sister. And the important thing, I said it to my boy this morning. He said, you live long. I says, you know what's most important to me, son? It's my eldest. He prayed for us. And I says, what is most important to me is having completed purpose. It's not the length.
Not the length of days.
It is just purpose. So at the end of it, that I have fulfilled purpose and things. So that is something that guides me. Am I walking in purpose, fulfilling purpose in terms of when God birthed me in his very heart, that he says, okay, I'm sending you forth, my son. There's people that you need to interact with.
Did you just put a womb in the heart?
A womb in the heart? Yes.
And when God birthed me in his very heart.
Yes, very heart, yes.
So you're writing?
Yes, I'm writing.
Yeah. How are you doing it? How are you doing it? You're typing it out on your trusted little device, or you're
speaking?
You're dictating.
Dictating, because with what is happening in these computers, you write and then have somebody helping me. So I've identified that. So, and it's interesting in terms of the chapters.
So you're just generously calling it writing.
Yes.
I'm writing my book. I'm actually dictating, and somebody's transcribing. What, you dictate it into a translator
Right.
that does
And
the
then the
voice
person helps me
transcription.
yeah, right. That's what it is.
So, oh wow, I'm getting a visual there of Percy leaning back with his arms behind his head
And
in his shorts, just speaking his thoughts. And when I was 10, and
this is
my
what
mother went
happened.
off.
Yeah, and all of those
Yeah.
things. Yeah, because it is through the different years and just making connections with what's happening national and internationally. Because I see that when I was 16, that and I was 16, and you remember when you were 9 or 10, and different things that happened. So it's coming together.
Yeah.
And
So
of course, there's
where?
a book that's written already, which is on mentorship. Just need to be edited because I've spent a lot of time just working with younger persons, how to do it. And yesterday I was somewhere and one of them come up. I saw him and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And him said, "I can't forget you, sir." Because what I am today is because of what you and other people inputted in my life and how I reconnected with him. Because at the school that I did a lot of mentorship with. And then his girlfriend was teaching me. And we're talking and she said, so and so. I said, yeah, I'm saying, I'm a mentor. And then the following day he present himself and said, you don't remember me, sir? And so, yeah. You see, to see that and then you go, wow. Or I remember too, we used to have this camp. It was a sports camp focusing on young men. And you're in somewhere, somebody about coach. No, I've coached, but it's big people. But for the camp, the counselors were called coaches. Then somebody ball out coach, where that young man is from. And you see them all the time. So it's been a good.
Sound like you're packing it in. It's been a good life.
Yeah, that's right. It's been good journey. It's been a good journey. Yeah. And I tell people what I've learned early, even today, is about relationships. The quality of your life is about relationships. Simply about relationship. First, a relationship with God, and then a relationship with humankind. And if you do it that way, you're good to go. Relationship. Everything is about relationships. Relationships. Quality of your relationship. Love God, love man, good to go.
All right, sir. Well, sadly, we can't spend all day talking about
No, we know. We move on to the business of the nation. And, I don't have a problem with that, What
You'll share.
The business of the nation, which seems to be churning. Because yesterday, we left with a former chairperson of the FSC and somebody out of another country asking questions. And somebody that more fulsome article on it. And right after that was raised, they got a new chairman in place. So when the present minister of finance says that he don't know anybody, he's not.
He hadn't seen the report.
No, it's not. That's not really.
Yeah, no one is believing it. Oh dear, I wish he hadn't gone down that path.
Yeah,
because it does make for a very poor showing.
Yeah, man, it
when
really does.
Your Minister of Finance has credibility issues.
Yeah, but
not like it's new, because he's both minister and politician.
Yeah,
he's presumed to have credibility issues from the politician side of his mouth. That reminds me, Gordon Robinson is one of the persons who has been writing consistently on this point, that ministers should not be members of parliament. You can't be a politician having to go out there and, guard the welfare of your constituents, and at the same time be a minister who has to carry out some specific duties, day in, day out, regardless of what your constituency might be demanding of you. And then it becomes even more difficult as minister to divide your attention between ministerial duties and parliamentarian duties, MP duties, especially if you oversee the distribution of funds or allocation of resources.
Well,
how do you cut that baby in 2, 3, 4, 5.
The baby. I couldn't call it the baby. Oh
So,
my Lord.
it is a challenge, and certainly in the next dispensation, we have to make sure that we have sufficient derricks between the politician and the minister. In fact, I agree with Gordon. They shouldn't be both. You can't sit in both places. If you're taking up a ministerial appointment, resign as MP.
Become a senator.
No, resign as MP.
So how you gonna? Because the way our constitution is written. So you're speaking to constitutional reform then.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's why I
really
said in
serious
the next
constitution.
dispensation,
With serious
ministers,
constitutional reform.
ministers and MPs should not sit in the same body. And because now, look at what's happening now. Now you have a serious credibility issue around your Minister of Finance. You can't have credibility issues with the man who handles the purse.
Right.
Those two words don't go together. That is a recipe for a dysfunctional government. You can't trust the word of your Minister of Finance.
Right,
and
sister.
if you take him at face value, he is either negligent or incompetent. Those are big, big, big issues anywhere else that you had to think about it. It just couldn't go forward as is. When the Minister of Finance comes to you with a budget and says, this is the best we can do, or this is how, you have to be thinking, did he get a report and not see it? That would have changed what he is presented. Or is he just plain lying? Because this don't make sense. When he comes with however many supplementary budgets.
Remember I presented the third one?
Yes. Has it arisen out of necessity? Or he's trying to do something that...
To cover something?
To cover something.
My
You
sister
don't
raised some
want to
serious
have those
question.
questions. Those are questions of integrity. You don't want to have those questions about your Minister of Finance. You don't want to have them about any minister, but especially if I had to pick two ministries that need to be just purebred all the time, I would say health.
About security.
Oh boy.
It's
So
three.
now it's three.
It's three. No, it's three. The Minister of Finance, Minister of
Finance.
Health, and Security.
So here's why security would be third on the list, not in the top two, because matters of national security, spy work and, undercover, what they call them, black ops, not sure why, but I love the expression.
Black
still.
operation.
Black operations, in the dark operations. Those are par for the core in security. You're never really hearing the truth.
Okay.
Because you can't handle the truth.
If I were to tell you the truth, you sure you can take
can't
the
handle
truth?
the truth. So national security has that dark side to it. But a nation has to be able to rest secure in the knowledge that whoever is in charge of security has that integrity to not be sucked in by the behind the scenes, undercover operations that have become a necessary part of, and listen, there's nothing new about it. You remember I love Old Testament stories. The children of Israel were met by this band of travelers who came from next door and dressed up in old clothes.
With old bread.
Stale bread. The wineskins were cracked and dried up, and their clothes were worn and dirty, and they were coming from next door to say, make a treaty with me, because I see that you're a powerful nation, and I don't want to have no problems with you. Just promise me that you and I won't ever be at odds. We come from far, far. We're not going to be any trouble to you.
Only to discover.
And they were drawn into it only to discover that they were neighbors. Well, of course, that made them, water carriers and woodcutters.
And then they wiped them out. Remember, that was part of the curse after what they did with them later on.
Yes. But they were supposed to have wiped them out from early.
But because they never listened.
Yeah. So, there are some things with security that you can take the doublespeak and the two-facedness. You don't want it for yourself, but you want your
intrigue.
You want the intrigue to be able to work to your advantage. But when it comes to health, matters pertaining to policies for health, and
what about justice?
Justice, oddly, justice doesn't depend on the person managing it being of integrity and wholesomeness as much as some of the others, because justice has so many parties who have to work together that if one is rotten, the other's supposed to suss it out.
Or because with the justice you have the independents who can say whether it's the Supreme Court versus the political. So that's what you're saying?
No. I'm saying there are so many actors on the stage to produce. Justice is
Real justice.
comes out of an interworking of several parties. If one is weak, the other should balance it out.
Correct. But
Or
we're not
can
saying that.
balance it out.
But no,
But
why are we
there-
having this challenge, in our country in terms of justice then?
No, this is justice in the larger scale.
Yeah.
We're talking like when you say Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Justice has a narrow remit that is administrative. But justice as the end result of several processes.
Different
We have a problem
relationships.
with it because of the lack of integrity in finance, lack of integrity, maybe certainly in security. It's just, what is security? Lack of competence and trust. People don't trust that those doing the admin work are competent and are doing a good job. And it's not even because of resources or just basic skills. It's an integrity issue.
True.
Like now, I've heard more than one person say, "Oh, the policemen going to get rich in this season of new offenses."
You see the thing, sister? So me have to make sure
We
me have
need
grab my
to-
phone, me go so boom and
Let me-
stick it
yeah.
up there. Because I have it, and you have the minimum fee there is $5,000.
Yeah, but it's knowing the raft of new offenses. We have to
Yeah,
go through it.
my
because
glorious is
I
like
saw
90 at
new offenses.
96.
I saw a friend of mine at the gas station with their car turn off. She said, "Me no want to give me no ticket because your engine should not be running when you're on the
and
pump."
they shouldn't have naked light here. Can't be done, yeah. That's an
Yeah.
offense.
So one of the things that, and you wonder when these things were going through, which policeman is going to come off the road onto my private property to come and give a ticket to somebody who's on the pump?
On your pump?
Yes, the gas station is private property. Road traffic deals with matters taking place on the road. I mean, you learn that. That's like Criminal Law 101. The Road Traffic Act and
But a
the
lot
offenses
of
created
lawyers,
under
they
it
never see it and never
are
go
for
through.
offenses in the public space. If I'm in a parking lot and certain things happen to me, I'm not on the road. Can't charge me under the Road Traffic Act. Can charge me on something else. If I'm on the pump at a gas station, I'm not on the road. Where is the Road Traffic Act? Anyway,
It's a
we
good
can
thing.
talk about those things and more
It's a great
when
thing.
we return.
It is so wonderful that you are versed in the law. Yeah,
'Cause
push me
that's
to go
what you-
turn lawyer, I know. You don't want to become a lawyer.
It's already happening. Ask Lowell. If you stay around me long enough,
No, sir.
you absorb the law. All
Seriously,
right,
no.
we'll come back after the break. Welcome back. It's very difficult to really broaden our discussion beyond looking at some of Percy's unique experiences. And we got into a conversation about what's happening in the world of sports leadership. And, it started really by looking at a picture of Mike Fennell,
I say, oh, Mike
who,
is, yeah, Mike's
who
still
was
there.
at the helm of
Or
what do you call
Olympic,
it? Yeah,
Olympic,
Olympic
for
Association,
years.
sports leadership for years and
It's
years
on
and
years
years
and years and years.
and
You
years.
thought you would never, she'd never leave.
I would never see the back of Mike Fennell. And when I met Mike Fennell was doing a stint at Maris Fletcher some long time ago.
Okay.
And he was a senior man even then. Mike has been blessed with long life. But it got us talking about what's happening in the world of sports leadership in Jamaica. And Percival was giving great kudos to attorney at law Christopher Samuda, who did not appear to have a single sports-like bone in his body.
No, he didn't. Remember, he came through the Paralympic Association.
See? Sorry. Yes, that is true.
Yes,
That
he
is
welded
true.
up for the
That's true.
Special
That's
Olympics
true.
for years, and
Yes.
then he did. And whatever you might say about him, to my
Yeah.
knowledge,
So-
he has made the lesser sports, that we would call them. And the lesser sports are the gymnastics and the table tennis and those things, which really don't get much. What he's done is widen it and allowed for a lot of the athletes through Olympic solidarity to go on training program, the coaches and so on. Because our major sports are football.
You're going to say cricket.
The cricket is a major sport. Somebody like him, you not played cricket. No, what is no, that's really not happening
Oh,
for the
Lord.
West Indies. No, oh boy. Although Jamaica's won the 50 and the 50 overs and the T20 in recent time through the Jamaica Scorpions or the other one, the Talawas. But it's tried and made, some people it's a major better use of the resources that were available, because you would have thought, and it's because having been involved, remember I was in the Olympics in 2000 as chaplain with the team, and I never know that when you go and you're a part of the official delegation, yes, yeah, but you
That
know,
child would be leaving college.
yeah, you understand, I'm going, oh, wow, yeah,
If you
I
had
never
an-
saw it, and I'm going, really?
All right, so Lowell is amazed by how long ago it was that you did it. And what are you amazed by?
Just what happened
the
when
treat-
you
the royal
the
treatment.
royal treat, you're treated as royalty when you're a part of the official delegation. You chef de mission, you have cars at your
Staff.
you have staff, whatever. And I say, okay. I often before that I said, why people run it down so? And when I went there, no, I understood why they run it down so much. That's royalty. So
All right. Okay, I have a couple of things I want us to touch on this morning. And I made a list.
we
of
could
course,
pay
I
debts
can.
in full. Oh wow.
Of course, I can tick off toast to Percy.
Yeah.
Though we're still toasting you in our hearts. There was an issue. I want to touch on it because we should speak on all the things that have national impact. We really should.
We must.
Yes. Women in Parliament.
Women caucus.
The Women Caucus in Parliament. It's got mixed reviews, and I think you and I should consider what it means. That women of, I think, established tenure in Parliament, none of them were greenhorns, though they were all green, wanting to have a committee
To do what?
to caucus.
To do what?
To caucus.
Just to say that we are a caucus?
They gather and discuss and come to positions. That's what a caucus does. A discussion, a talk shop, isn't it?
Oh, I see.
There isn't anything more to
To
caucusing.
No, you see, let me see what a caucus is. I'm going to look for the definition. You
So
say
you
it's just a
mean-
talk shop? It's just a talk shop? No, seriously
Yeah,
means.
well, yes, but I mean, if you can set it up to address specific things.
Mm-hmm.
A caucus is a meeting in which local members of a political party register their preference among candidates running for office or select delegates to attend a convention. It is a conference of members. To caucus is to meet.
Awesome.
A caucus is a closed meeting of a group of persons belonging to
See,
the
the
same
PNP and
political
GLP
party
then.
or faction, usually to select candidates to decide. I didn't get the impression that it was across the floor, but for it to make sense as a committee of parliament, it would have to be
Across the floor.
bipartisan. It couldn't be
Yeah, that's what I'm
just
saying.
because the JLP ladies can sit at any one of them
Them go
house
do- and
on
go
any
do-
afternoon
and
and
go talk.
caucus.
No, I'm just trying to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
so what my thing always is, people come to me with an idea, what it is you are seeking to achieve.
accomplish with
What
this
is the
idea.
purpose of this thing? Because when you understand purpose, then you know how to guide it, how to direct it, how to cause it to fulfill what it was set up to do. When you do have purpose and you go all over the place, so that's why I wonder who came up with this wonderful idea.
It seems as if it's Camina.
Oh, jeez.
It's her new caper.
Oh, gee,
Not
thank
true,
you.
not fair. Let me just see if how much history I can find on it. But the part I wanted us to focus on was the gender specific nature of the caucus.
Because our friend raised the constitutionality of it. What's his name? Senator Morris.
Senator
Yes.
Floyd, yes. Whether it's constitutional or unconstitutional, I think it's curious as to what is the female experience? What is their experience in Parliament? Why they want to caucus? Why they want to exclude the men? What is happening there? That's what makes me curious. Why do you feel a need to sit as women in Parliament as a committee, and it needs to be so official? It's not something that you could manage in your social, navigations. You have to be recognized. It is speaking to some kind of sense that the perspective of the women are being ignored
hearing it.
or overrun, or that's what it's telling me. That's my
Yeah.
reading of it. Yes, you're looking at some of the. Yeah, that is what is sort of teasing my mind. Why would the need for it even arise?
Wow. I know, like it speak about caucus. I remember the African American caucus when Portia was prime minister was very influential in terms of us getting a second IMF deal. You know that?
Who? Prime Minister.
When Portia was prime minister.
yes.
And after the Mr. Shard made a mess of the IMF deal, it was the Black Caucus that she reached out to, and then they in turn reached out to Obama, and he said to them, "If you just talk to Jamaica, it's still doing that story."
Yeah.
Yeah, but so the caucus, in some instances, is important. I can understand a Black Caucus, which in the States is across political.
The focus is on black.
Yeah.
All right, let me get the history for you, because I don't know if everyone gave it fair hearing. It starts with Minister Babsy Grange, who has gender issues in her portfolio. Here it is being reported, let me get this. On the 13th of December 2022, it was reported that the House of Representatives approved a motion for the establishment of a caucus of women parliamentarians from both chambers and all parties.
Okay,
so it gets a nod on that level. Members of Parliament gave their approval at the end of a debate on the motion, which was tabled by Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, which called for the amendment of the standing orders of the House of Representatives to allow the caucus to be established as a sessional select committee to sit jointly with a similarly comprised committee from the Senate.
There's both sides.
Today we celebrate bridging both houses, bridging the political divide as we establish this bicameral caucus, demonstrating to our women all over Jamaica that women can come together, eliminating all man-made or woman-made obstacles and work together to achieve a common cause. This
What
is
is the
Grain.
cause?
That
What is the cause? What is the
that is to be
cause?
determined.
What is the purpose? You see, we do a lot
Why
of things.
did it become controversial?
We do a lot of
Because
things in show, you know.
no, why did it become controversial? Because
Floyd?
a women's caucus is not an unusual thing in any political party, because gender discrimination and gender specific issues require gender specific focus. So how did it become controversial on the floor of Parliament?
I think if my memory serves me correctly,
So-
Floyd raised an objection to it because
yeah.
they say it's not constitutionally.
All right. Anticipating the approval of the Senate, Minister Grange said she was excited by the prospect of shared responsibility and the collaborative search for solutions that underpin the bicameral caucus. So now it sounds like Jamaica never had one before. All right, let's see. Let's get another story on it. See if-
Floyd, I said.
why Floyd was
Floyd said, where the conservative are
all
they?
about. I think gender-specific issues require gender-specific focus.
Correct.
I do believe that. I also feel that it is true that the perspective of the women will get trampled on, overlooked, pushed aside when it is an open session.
Okay.
For one, they are still in the minority.
Okay.
And there has to be a necessity, a need for that voice to be heard, and you need space and privacy to work through
That are the issues that
what
are
the issues
gender
are.
specific.
Absolutely.
So
and
therefore
then come with a position.
So now we get to on so therefore it means then that if bills go to the House are tabled and you have these, like we went to the Joint Select
Committee, right.
So if it goes to a Joint Select Committee, what would happen is that a woman sitting across a political divide would
Yes.
say, this is our position on it.
On
So
that,
when we
right.
go into the law, when we're going to do it, make sure
that
But
these
this
things
is-
are covered.
No, I can understand the purpose
and they
of that.
could then sit and interact with the public if they choose
Yes,
to.
and say, well, this is
and
what
pull
it is.
from, what
So that
it
makes
is
sense.
people-
That makes
does
sense.
that makes sense.
That makes sense to me.
In
But-
fact, now I'm thinking they didn't have that.
Because it would be a straight along political lines. The
Yes,
vote,
yes,
remember saying
yes,
they don't
yes.
vote what the party say, and even
Yes.
if few people have had the balls to say, well, what do women have anyway? To say, to go against the
I
tide.
will tell you what we have.
No, but I'm just saying it. You know,
Yeah.
what would the woman anyway?
So it seems as if when it got to the Senate now, for their approval, because it got through the House of Representatives,
It would have.
when it got to the Senate now, it attracted a different,
Response.
yes, it attracted a, senators clashed over all-woman caucus. So January 28 now, senators were at a stalemate for hours at Friday's meeting of the upper house over the constitutionality of establishing a parliamentary women's caucus as a permanent committee of parliament. Opposition Senator Floyd Morris, who raised the question of a possible constitutional breach in regards to gender discrimination, abstained from a vote to amend the standing orders to reflect the setting up of the caucus. Morris, who dismissed the notion that he was against the establishment of the bicameral caucus of women parliamentarians to be established as a sessional select committee of both houses, said he would only be satisfied with written opinions from the Attorney General and Solicitor General. This despite an intervention by Attorney General Dr. Derek McCoy by way of a note to leader of government business in the Senate, Kamina Johnson-Smith. Oh, how I blamed her for that one. Remember I said it was another of her caper. No, not her caper. It is Babsy Grange who placed it in her contribution to the debate. And my only surprise is that they didn't have one.
Before.
PNP has their women's group. JLP have a women's leaders group or
Yeah,
something?
man.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you want to see
across
that.
the floor.
Yeah.
But Dr. McCoy,
Yes. Dr. Derek McCoy sent a note to Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith during the sitting indicating that the motion did not offend the Constitution and was no more discriminatory than establishing similar sessions for persons with disabilities, the elderly, or religious groups. The standing orders were eventually amended with a new Section 661E to include the Women's Caucus. Well done. They got some work done on that day, man. And it's good that the Attorney General.
I wonder
was
why
able to-
why hasn't Dr. Derek McCoy spoken to the other things that are, to my own mind?
Maybe he has, but it wasn't ready to
No,
the dialogue.
no, but
the
I'm
way
just
it
being
has.
mischievous. No, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in terms of more pressing things, more pressing matters.
Listen to this. It's a women's caucus, you know, and Floyd's Senator Floyd's objection is no. He made a bid to amend the motion to ensure that male parliamentarians are not excluded from the women's caucus.
Well, the one males in a women's caucus. Anyway,
But
Friday
way
off on
it would no longer be a women's caucus.
No.
But
Like you said, but in this world of trans world and
Yeah,
all
I
of that
know.
thing, you could have just up and say
Gender fluidity.
No, you see, it becoming absurd
That
because
is actually quite funny.
you know, it's funny because a man could have said, today I'm feeling like a woman. Can I go and join?
Yes, sitting with the girls today.
Yes, because I'm feeling like a female.
Noel had shared something with me about some prison for women.
No, it's not it's a serious thing, you know. It's
I know.
Yes.
It was a reported case of
Of rape.
a trans man identifying himself as a woman
Yes.
was entered into a female prison,
Yes.
and the female prisoner turned up pregnant.
Yes.
I see you went to biology class. You've taken care of that problem.
No, but beyond that, I think it's that similar thing that somebody been charged with rape and thing along
Yeah.
that similar
Yeah.
case. Yeah.
But it's a black man. So I said no more than the man want to go hang out with the women
Well,
and
okay.
decided that he was trans.
Oh no, sir.
And promptly went in there and got one of the
great fun.
real women pregnant.
No, when you think about it, you know, it really, the word of God says,
Yeah,
God has allowed them in their futility of their thinking. It's 7:30 though, of their mind and thinking, allow them up to them own
Is it
way.
7:30 or 7:29? Speaking prophetically.
It's 7:30.
Let's
watch.
take our break. Oh, your new watch. We're on.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Welcome to the Ligony Club. This beautiful property is nestled in the heart of New Kingston and is the single largest sporting facility in the English-speaking Caribbean. JD's Urban Pub is our resident restaurant. You can trust them with all your catering requirements. Take advantage of our excellent amenities and allow yourself to be pampered by our courteous and efficient staff in the comfort of our well-appointed and welcoming public spaces. You are being invited to make this your home away from home. Take advantage of our full-service gymnasium. Our 8 tennis courts. Feel free to wander through the gardens and enjoy the relaxing atmosphere of this oasis that remains as charming today as when we first opened our doors in 1910, and our large-size swimming pool. 6 squash courts. In the evenings, relax with us in the lobby bar and lounge.
All right, so Women in Caucus. Welcome back. All right, I'm going through the list on this free-flowing Thursday where Percy's at the center of our attention, but we're still trying to get some work done. Women in Caucus, Percy, we say yes. Frankly, we're surprised. It was not so before.
But why did it come?
At the close of the review of what happened in the Senate, Kamina Johnson-Smith is quoted as saying that this was in an effort to satisfy Jamaica's commitment to under the United Nations Treaty for the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. So just like how they tick that box, we're ticking that box on ours.
Tick that.
It's a box ticking
Hello,
exercise.
Minette. We need to do better than that still.
Yeah.
We need to do better. Because, again, people we keep, it's a scratch record on this program. Especially from me, what is the motivation of the heart?
Yeah.
It's wrong, man. That's the only reason why. So them ticking some boxes off.
Box ticking.
Yeah, man. Okay.
But you know what? I bless them for ticking that box because there really is a need for women to give special attention to some things and for them to speak with one voice on things that are most important in the nation. And I just took it for granted that that was already in existence because even if you pattern yourself off the way other mature nations organize their political system, you would see that the women have a space. That's not even, you wouldn't even say modern. That's been so for a long time. And even when you look at the local level, in party politics, the women have a space.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with what comes out of that space when you stand in a male-dominated environment and you need to speak with one voice? You must have come to that one voice through a process. But, you know, I applaud them for that. I tick that one on my list too. There's an issue which I was watching it. Well, we had a series of digital literacy presentations last year, and I see the necessity for us to return to it again. especially because amongst the, I call it the new journalists, talk show hosts have been around for a while, but I think you and I have added something different to what we do and how we approach it. And it's necessary for thought leaders or opinion makers to play a significant role in just shaping our perspective on certain things. This week is journalism week or journalist week. I don't want to be too precise on how I can find it anyway. And we saw them, there are the traditional ways of paying special attention to different industries when they are being celebrated.
Yes.
So journalists or journalism is front page this week. And there's an article from yesterday's Gleaner, edition of the Gleaner.
The Fifth Estate.
Yes. Bloggers. These are
People
people
just
who
talking
enter
about that
into
issue.
social. What is the B for? Because it
You
is.
have vloggers,
it's-
you have bloggers.
It's bloggers.
Yes.
But really, you go online and you you maintain a running
Commentary on anything
on
that-
anything that cross your thoughts. And there are some noted ones in Jamaica
Who are
speak,
influencers.
who speak on all kinds of matters, politics, just happenings, local happenings. They've drawn the ire of the traditional journalists. So if you take a look at the article, it talks about bloggers being slammed as rogue journalists.
But
Well,
they
it's
never
quite a
said-
compliment to be calling them journalists.
Because they never ever consider themselves that. Yeah. So if a traditional journalist is saying to them, oh wow, yes,
You're a rogue journalist.
You're a
It
rogue.
starts by acknowledging that it's a journalist who has gone rogue.
Rogue. Oh,
They're
boy.
not journalists.
They never
And I
said
think
that.
that's one of the base things we have to recognize, that technology has given prominence to certain activities which, without the technology, those persons would have remained as just gossipers and people hanging out at the corner shop or wherever people sit and just chat foolishness.
Oh my Lord.
And their sphere of influence would be limited to the 10 or 20 persons that they can speak to in any one day. And if those 10 or 20 persons repeat it,
yeah.
yes.
But now you have an audience
But
of
now, through technology, you can be speaking to millions and maybe even regret it when you realize how far your words have gone. But technology has made it so much easier for nonsense to spread. You know, there's a saying of some vintage that a lie will have traveled the world twice before the truth has put on its boots.
okay.
Have you ever heard it? I may have paraphrased it a little, but the essence of it naturally is that something that is not true travels at a way more rapid rate of speed than the truth. The truth is just stretching and greeting the day and looking out the window to see, should I go out this morning? While the lie has already done laps around the country and is looking to take the plane and go somewhere else. That's the nature of things. That's just the nature of things in this realm. It requires a kind of I always say a right understanding of what you're dealing with in order to shape a proper response. So the first thing is, bloggers are not journalists. Don't.
Put them there.
Sometimes, like even when callers call us journalists, we're not journalists.
We know.
We've not studied one lick of journalism. We're not subject to the code of conduct. Do you know there's a code of conduct?
For journalists, yeah.
Yeah. We are not even a part of their. That's why they don't invite us to anything. We are not a part of any protocol that covers the professionals who work in the field. We are persons who, by reason of our experience or education maybe, and the perspective that we share, have the opportunity to speak to you. And if we had such burning words in our bellies that we'd have to stand up at the side of the road and say it, we'd only speak to the 10 people who stop to
who come,
listen. But because we are on air, we get to speak to more than that. But we're not journalists.
Get up, get us down. The days when I used to preach on the bus. So, yeah.
Speak about the days when you used to preach on the bus.
I was
Which
spreading the
number
good
bus?
news. No, the one from Spanish Town to Kingston. Yeah, man.
So, did you like plan it, or you're sitting there and the Lord say, get up, Percy, and tell
No,
the
some of the
people?
times we plan it. There's a friend of mine, he's a doctor, but he works with CDC out in South
Yeah.
Africa now. We do it.
So, hey, listen, I discovered that there's a ministry that involves holding placards.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I met someone who said, that's my ministry.
Yeah, and they
I
stand
write
up,
on it, Jesus
"Jesus
loves you,
and
and I go stand up somewhere. I always thought those people were trying to beg change.
No. There's some people
I never know it's a ministry that you dress up and go out and do.
that they call to do. Different people have different purpose.
Absolutely. And it's not for any of us to disparage
Or disdain.
how they want to, because there's a person who is glancing by and sees the placard that says, well, no, Jeremiah,
Jeremiah.
it wasn't Jeremiah. That would have been Ezekiel.
One of them,
No, was it?
Jeremiah.
It's Jeremiah.
It's Jeremiah.
Jeremiah.
Just like in
The
that space.
youngster.
Yes.
Lie on one side for 365 days. Turn on the other side to show that this is what it's going to look like as you're leaving. And
No,
make a wooden
amazing.
yoke. Remember, you had to wear a wooden yoke in temple?
Mm-hmm.
And then that other bad mind prophet break the wooden yoke.
And they
And say,
say,
"This is how-"
I say, same way you broke it, that's what happened to you because I'm the true prophet.
And you will be in a yoke of iron.
No.
I tell you, those
We go-
stories are fascinating. Anyway, that is Lowell drawing us off track. We really are rogue journalists.
Right, you know it.
No, but
Yeah, we are rogue journalists. Anyway, but it's important that you understand that not everybody who's speaking to you have a certain accreditation that you could go and quote them and said, like you could, all right, let me get serious now. If you were pleading a case for someone in court, there are some accepted sources of law that you can resort to. You can say, justice.
according to the article in the Gleaner, so and so, you can.
I'm coming to that. There are different sources and they are rated according to their
credibility.
credibility. And credibility is tested not on are you speaking the truth and believe yourself to be speaking the truth, but is your information coming from sound research and analysis such that it can be relied on as wisdom. So there are different sources that you can resort to support your argument. So you can say the Privy Council ruled so and so, that is the highest source, because the Privy Council, shamefully so, is still the highest court in the land. Or you can say the Court of Appeal of Jamaica in the case of Percy versus Lowell said so and so on the point. And that is your second highest source because the Court of Appeal is just below the Privy Council. You go to the High Court and say the High Court judge ruled in so and so.
So where does the newspaper article
The
come?
newspaper is way down the bottom because depending
terms
on
of the
who
pecking
wrote
order.
it.
Okay.
So there's a pecking order. I love that. There's a pecking order. For those who are drawing their information from online sources, you have to learn how
No, it's
to.
true. When we're doing research, even in terms of writing, it
Yeah.
says it's not every source. I say, no, that can't
That's-
use.
tell you, that's not a
no,
source.
that can't use. So
I found it on the internet.
No, no, they have to go through and check, and that's why you have peer-reviewed journals that they say. And that became a major thing in regards to the recent pandemic and
Yes.
and people saying,
Yes,
no, they're not
because-
peer review, and then
Because persons were drawing information from all kinds of sources.
and even the peer
and
reviews
not
were being
able
paid.
not able to test the integrity of what they were getting. So to the author of this article that says bloggers, that speaks about bloggers as rogue journalists, they're not journalists at all. They haven't gone rogue. They're performing true to type. They are ordinary sons and daughters of the land with an opinion on something or a perspective on something that is shaped by their own paranoia and experiences and biases, and they've spoken their opinion. It's just an opinion. And we who are drawing from that pool need to understand what is contaminated, what is pure, how to dissect. So digital literacy remains a very important issue for this nation, because a lot of us believe that just by virtue of the word being written gives it some authority. Then if it is published, and it's published in a globally accessible portal, it seemed to rise. It is no more important than, a madman at the corner muttering something that gets picked up. And we have to have that.
It'd be
that
very
sense.
strong in that, because even then, as we speak about what sources are acceptable, one of the things that really emerged during the lockdown and COVID in terms of information was, that there was, in the use of one of the medicines that they said had been tested, people threw it out, said horse medicine. And people said because it wasn't that peer review thing, and when they check it, it came out, and people said, no man, something wrong. And then when they check it, they had to retract it. This is one of the big medical journals, I said. And when they check the guy, he just pull some things, they push it through. So even some of the times, even the
so
so-called
there's
peer review and they says,
but we
limit for
shouldn't,
profit.
let's not conflate the two issues, though, because a dishonest peer review publication does not discredit the system of peer-reviewed assessments. It is still one of the best ways
of doing
to
it.
test the integrity of what persons in the same discipline are doing. To have other experts of ability
think on it,
look at what the person is doing. That is a good way. But you can never bar dishonesty and fraud from
And
any
money
system.
driving it now.
And of course, money.
Almighty
oftentimes.
mammon.
Right. So anyway, this comment that bloggers were making things hard really comes from a place of sloth and laziness.
You think so?
Yes, it is. If the traditional journalist now, the professional, who must do the work of reporting with integrity
investigation
and based on investigation and credible sources, they are saying here that these social media journalists, I have to use quotes, air quotes, that these persons are making it hard.
Difficult for them.
They make the work of traditional journalists difficult when they are reporting on, at the moment they were talking about when they're reporting on society's vulnerable, particularly victimized children. So here's what you'll get. There are rules that cover how you report on certain matters. And we see the Broadcasting Commission taking TVJ to task, for example, for putting up a lurid video where you're seeing more than you should see. But TVJ is competing against the blogger who put up the whole thing with everything exposed and on full display, and even the language that TVJ couldn't put on their thing. You can hear it on, yes.
Redactor.
You shouldn't be competing. You shouldn't be competing because, or you should not be competing. Keep it pure.
You should
not be competing because what you do is of a particular type and nature that is still desperately needed. And in fact, the more the bloggers do foolishness, you should now develop a fact-checking ministry. That should be your ministry, to fact-check what is on social media and correcting it in the proper space, so that when discerning individuals say, I saw that over there, what's the truth? They can say, oh, let me look at TVJ's fact-check ministry portal to assess what went on over there. Because a part of digital literacy is to know how to find the truth about something that is put out. A basic rule that I give to my young niece, family members, I said, if you see an important news item being reported only on social media, it is not true. There is no way in life that, say, the Queen would have died and the only place you see it is on, give me a social media, on Twitter. Or the only place you see it.
You know,
Or
that's an interesting thing.
when they announced that Pele had died, before Pele had actually died.
No, yeah, that's true because
The only place it was on social media.
I was listening to BBC
Yeah.
and they were reporting how the Minister of Interior died. And they say in order for it to be true, she went through 1, 2,
Before-
3,
before
4,
she could put
5,
it on
6,
the air.
7 steps. And she said, oh, it's true because this line up with that, line up with that, line up. And I said, wow.
Yes.
So they now have to be so careful because
course.
even what is happening in terms of the war in Ukraine, it's a major propaganda from both sides, you know.
You have to know.
And they were saying, not because they see it, she said, we have to check this.
Of
And we
course.
have to do some digital thing. And we have to check this video. And I'm saying,
Yes.
okay, all right. So
It
that
is
makes
true.
sense. But
Yeah.
even as you speak about fact checkers, one of the other things that has emerged, people put themselves even out as fact checkers. They were saying, who paid that fact checker to? So again, we always say follow the money. What's happening here in regards to it? Because with what has emerged in the Twitter dump, as it is called, in terms of how the state and other people work very hard to censor things that would have given a counter thing or to try balance it out.
But so here's years ago when the technology was, you could see that there would be a convergence of certain technologies that would make news more accessible, real time, and in living color.
Yes.
There are persons like myself who understood that it was a great thing for people to have information because knowledge is power.
True.
And people perish for lack of knowledge.
Correct.
So if you can sustain life and be powerful in how you navigate, clearly that's a blessing. But at the same time, you understood that you needed now to have the skill. Discernment became more important. And as we spent so much time talking about the wisdom of God and the knowledge of God and so on, the discernment becomes way more important. So for example, I know when I get a piece of information, just like how the BBC journalists list the 7 checks, I know I have to check it in some ways. You don't just throw it out because it is offering a perspective, but you don't internalize it and allow
that's what
it
it
to
is.
shape your thinking or your decision making without establishing some other parameters.
Because as we know, the battlefield of the man is a major thing that's
That
happening.
is the theater of war.
Yeah, that's
in
what's
this
happening
age.
right now in this age.
Yeah,
and-
you can't just
and-
anyway. So
but that's a
so
major
we
thing.
need to come back to digital literacy and be a point of reference, be helpful to persons who are still challenged and who don't want to dismiss something too early and find that later on it was really useful information and they fail to use it.
Well, that becomes an important thing. So
This article, though, that has written is useful. There's a recitation in it of some of the elements of the code of practice for journalists, Jamaican journalists and media organizations. Reporters cannot interview or take photos of children under the age of 18 without the consent of a parent or guardian. The press cannot identify minors who are involved in sexual offense cases, whether as victims, witnesses, or defendants in a trial, or in any news report of a case involving a sexual offense by an adult against a child. And these are things that we should be mindful of, and we should speak against it, and we should not consume it either. There are some things people send to me, I delete it, and I send them a message to say, that's not something you should be sending around. During the pandemic, I remember a pastor sent me a story or a video about, like it's something about 19 missionaries held hostage in some place, and a beheading was imminent and something.
That was like
and
3-4 years old.
Listen, more than that, because when it's not missionaries, it's something else. It's one of those things that people just rehash and give it fresh life. And I'm thinking like, when I got it, I was saying, this big man sent me this. Does he think it's true? You
Probably
think?
thought
And
so.
it said like it had Canadian missionaries and American missionaries and so on. I said, but you think that American lives would be at risk, and the only place you hear about it is on the internet, social media? Just think and start to research it. I researched it and got the whole history of it,
That
of
big
how
garage.
many times it had gone through with different persons in it. So digital literacy is a big deal. Big deal. I mean, even for example, things like you maintain an account with a financial institution and you get statements. And when you look at the statements, they send them to you by email or online or whatever. And when you look at it, there's nothing in it that distinguishes it from something that anybody could have just get up and send you. It puts you on the alert that
You have to learn
you
what
go
you're doing.
deeper. I told you I'd been trying to register with the NHD app for something. Every time I try that, I try to get the verification for my registration, it just goes into a spin.
Spin. Somebody was.
And that goes on. I mean, I've
10
tried it
minutes.
2 or 3 times, and I shut down the computer, leave it overnight, go back to it the next morning, and it's still doing that. And then out of the blue, I get an email telling me that NHD has prepared a check for me. I just need to verify my bank information.
And send it
It's
to the.
foolishness.
Yeah, you
I
know that.
couldn't be registered.
And
How
you
did I
want-
move
from
from
not being
being registered to
Being
a check
ready.
is ready for you, confirm your wire transfer information?
Just tell them, say, them their account. Somebody try to scam you.
Yeah.
I know. I've been trying. Have you been, somebody tried to scam you already?
No.
It happened to me. That
No.
was very interesting.
I've got online things.
Oh, no, it's scam.
Like
They
I
say,
got the NHD one,
let me just watch
which
it how it
reminds
go.
me that I need to go.
And then when it watch me and I say, okay, going along, so I know it's somebody trying to scam me online and I go to, and then I say, send so much money to someone. So I say, all right, you send it to me first. And then,
And then they know you're not more.
You're not-
I saw Lowell had one. I'll tell it in 30 seconds if I can. Lowell had one. Somebody reached out to him and said like, how are you, man of God? And bless him and saying things like try prophesy to him or something like that. And Lowell answered, in a kind way. And then the person asked him something, said like, oh, he can do something or other for him, but he needs to sow a seed. So Lowell asked a question like, he asked him a question, a probing question, and the answer came back was like, are you sowing the seed or not? It was like, I have 10 of you to do this morning.
do that today.
I'm not wasting
It's not
any
like
time
that.
with you today. Let's take our break.
So this seed or not.
Oh boy.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM. The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM. Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Welcome to the Ligony Club. This beautiful property is nestled in the heart of New Kingston and is the single largest sporting facility in the English-speaking Caribbean. JD's Urban Pub is our resident restaurant. You can trust them with all your catering requirements. Take advantage of our excellent amenities and allow yourself to be pampered by our courteous and efficient staff in the comfort of our well-appointed and welcoming public spaces. You are being invited to make this your home away from home. Take advantage of our full-service gymnasium. Our 8 tennis courts. Feel free to wander through the gardens and enjoy the relaxing atmosphere of this oasis that remains as charming today as when we first opened our doors in 1910, and our large-size swimming pool. 6 squash courts. In the evenings, relax with us in the lobby bar and lounge. Call or visit us today. We're excited to meet you.
Welcome back. We're into the second segment of our morning. I just want to say, for the benefit of those who are joining us now, that it is Pastor Percival's birthday. You'd have to go online to hear me singing happy birthday to him because that kind of performance cannot be repeated. Maybe next year, but not certainly not twice in the same morning. But we're celebrating Pastor Percival. Percy, stop paying attention to Justice Chuck's 10
Restore.
years ago picture.
No, the one that
Because
speaks
he doesn't look
Justice
like that
Week
now.
2023, February 5 to 10. That's next week, no? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're
That's-
doing parish services all over the place.
Church, eh?
Church
Yes,
services.
man. I tell you, the church is the new state.
Hey!
Because every minister is pressing hard.
The
that
church need
to
to
get
come
up and do some work.
some work. They recognize the work that the church been doing, but I
And
agree we can
recognize
be.
the importance.
Yes, and the work we've been doing,
Yeah.
because people say,
Either
take the
that or
church
they're-
out of the society.
Either that or they're campaigning because me see some church where they're planning to go. And I think that's the first time that some of them will even go into those communities. I see Low River, Low River United Church in Trelawney.
It's a wonderful church. Been
I
there.
know
Yeah.
that they're just below me,
Holy Cross.
I tell you that where I'm from is on the border of St. Anne and Trelawney.
Okay.
And on another side, Clarendon.
Okay.
Yep.
So that different.
I come from a unique place.
This is a wonderful national church services at Salem Baptist Church.
They're going all over.
Christian Fellowship World Outreach, where this is
Count it off and tell me if you see 13.
13
churches.
1, 2, 3,
it does
4,
sound like
5,
they're going
6, 7,
everywhere.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
Ah,
14.
in fact, it's 14.
14.
Then we'll go downtown as well as.
So Kingston is
Yeah.
in, Portland is in Buff Bay Baptist,
And
Morant Bay
clearly,
Baptist,
St. Andrew is in all on
St.
her
Andrew's
own.
Christian Fellowship, yes. Clarendon, St. Catherine, Harmony Gospel. Where is that? Harmony Gospel, where that is?
You see a church that you don't know?
Yeah.
Anyway, I do have a few more matters, Pastor Percival, for
But,
your kind attention.
No. Okay. They always have my attention.
Yeah. I want to leave the digital literacy thing for just a moment. The truth is, it needs to be a running theme for a season because so much of even how people shape their opinions, they are drawing it either consciously or subliminally from online sources. A tweet that they saw, some YouTube video that they watched. Just there are just so many places from which people are drawing things. It's no longer you watching traditional media and hearing them cover a story and point it in a direction, and you either reject it or you accept it, and in conversations with friends and family, your opinion is refined. You have to think about how you form your opinion. There's a process that each individual has a process, a methodology for settling their position on certain things. And you if you've not examined what yours is, my recommendation now is that you begin to think on it and have an understanding of how you come to a position on things. Some of us wait to be told. We wait on some influential person in our life to say.
So you have influencers,
yes,
you know that.
and that is why the whole business of influencer is such a money racket.
There's
Social media again.
But that's a major thing in the Nigerian elections. They've raised it in terms of the misinformation and the political parties paying people who are influencers to release
to carry their story.
Yeah.
And the pattern was
All over.
well set from the Americans, made it public that their populace had been severely manipulated by Russian operatives sending out every kind of misinformation. And they say skewing the results bitterly against, for example, Senator Rodham Clinton.
So them say.
Yes. Yeah. So Hillary Rodham Clinton. Yeah.
Somebody said then get back them
not so
own
them
medicine.
said it was established to have been so. She was listen, even in Jamaica here I was seeing stories on Facebook about Hillary Clinton being some kind of horrible person. I'm not even going to repeat it. It was just outrageous.
Don't repeat it. Don't
I
repeat
wouldn't
it.
repeat it. It was just outrageous that people could put out those stories, and then you hear it QAnon, or however you pronounce it,
QAnon or
QAnon,
whatever.
which targeted women, the bulk of their membership women, repeating the things. So yes, they did it, and yes, it was effective. Anyway, so digital literacy is something that you can't leave it out of your configuration. But I want to talk a little bit about Haiti, and I want to twin our conversation on Haiti with a story that has made the front page of today's local Gleaner.
Which one of them?
This young architect, he looks more like a movie star than an architect when you look at him. But then architecture is a very artistic endeavor.
Correct.
So if you look at him, I mean, dashing looking young man, 42 years old, killed in mafia style, you would say, to borrow from the Americans. Yes, obviously organized at the intersection of Cargill and Skibo Avenue. Not sure how you pronounce his first name, but the second name is very easy. Darling.
He was a darling.
He was a darling. Maybe it's Yuan or Yuan. Yuan Darling. Killed in just broad evening, 6:30 p.m. And the police are saying, very early out the blocks, that based on the tight cluster of bullet entry points for the vehicle, it is someone who is skilled in the use of firearms. This was not no random scattershot shooting and hope that you catch something. To quote Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey, he says, based on the narrow radius of the bullet holes on the shattered windscreen of the deceased motor vehicle, expert. I'm twinning it with Haiti because what's happening in Haiti looks chaotic, and it looks chaotic because unless you have your finger on the pulse of it, you don't know that there is behind it something that is highly organized. Are you with me? Yeah. And this is because anywhere you see violence erupt and persist and disorder persist for such a long period of time, there is an organizing force behind it whose strategy is to give the appearance of chaos. Still with me? All right. What feeds and creates the opportunity for this kind of breakdown in a society, of course, has its foundation in the economics of things, the poverty, the sense of injustice, the desire for change, the unresponsiveness of a government or society to the needs of the people. I know it's person's birthday, but like him outright just reading the newspaper beside me. He's not even pretending.
No, I was just reading the article that you're referring to.
Could you bring me a cup of tea or something, and maybe a slice of cake? Or
no, man, it's the article.
Let's just complete the look of breakfast.
No, man, no, it's the article you're referring to, so I was just checking it. Go ahead, I'm listening.
You know I love you dearly. I'll see a lady bring you a placemat because she sees that you're ready for breakfast.
Oh, come on. No, man. Go ahead. So you said Darling is the person who did
I've moved on. I'm trying to
make a link in terms of what is happening.
I am the colony. I'm the colony of ants building a bridge because I want the consciousness of my people to rise and to track something that is happening
in our country.
And this is the way this man was killed is significant.
Okay.
And what the police are saying about it is significant. Jamaica has just expressed a desire or an intent to participate in whatever they think they can do in Haiti. It's you say better late than never, but it's too late.
9 or 8 bullet holes in the same place. So that means we have to start right around with bulletproof glass and other thing.
Yeah, who can afford that?
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but what I'm looking at is just look at some things that are sliding in Jamaica. Haiti, what's happening in Haiti is a threat to democracy in the region.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the proximity between Haiti and Jamaica,
You want any some of them coming over here?
no, it's not the some of them. I'm glad you're engaged now, but you see, your lack of engagement earlier has caused you to be out of step with my heart. Make we hold hands.
Go ahead.
Let's go again. And it's just something that we have to be mindful of, and even you and I, as we pray and intercede, we have to watch it. There is a spirit that is loose in Haiti. It's highly organized, very intelligent, and it manifests by causing what looks like chaos, but behind the chaos is a deliberate, systematic, well orchestrated destabilization of the nation and the people. And the fact that they look like us and are us is something we can't miss. It starts, of course, with the politics going all over the place. You can't keep a prime minister even if you tried. When the politics gets like that, elections are meaningless. Jamaica is at the point now when local government elections, I know the general election is when you get your prime minister, but can I tell you, the local government is where the people are. We look to be in danger of missing a local government election, and we're late in having one.
We missed one. It should have
Yeah.
happened last year.
Right.
Postponed for a year.
And that was already late. Last year it was late, and I remember.
Yeah, and then they put
And
it
now-
back a year. And some people
And
are saying it looks like
it
what happened
looked like-
years ago.
It looked like anything that happened. If it does happen this month because the prime minister get revelation, it looked like it's gonna be it's not going to be the best showing of democracy.
Okay.
In Jamaica, we are seeing, we're seeing now that the rich and mighty are actually even stealing from each other as well as from us. We're seeing that a regulatory agency that should be exhibiting the highest levels of integrity, probity, credibility, we're seeing that it's nothing. I am calling it nothing because I have a way of measuring these things. I look at their board, they barely have a lawyer. They're really, the staff
mean
is
FSC?
running. FSC.
What do you mean? Okay. But in
We-
terms
we-
of the structure, the staff will report and then the board looks at it and then make the right decision. But
Yes.
you're saying from day one, they say, I don't like how this board looking because
That's not a board.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So what we are beginning to see is that there is it's like when termite is in your building then.
Chichi.
Right. And you're seeing the drops of thing, whatever.
You see the
waste.
dust. You see the
You
dust
see the
all over the
dust.
place. I said, termite is in
Right.
the building. You know?
Yeah, yes. Okay. Okay. I might not take it any further.
But it's in
in the
No, but-
discussion
because-
I'm showing it is not Jamaica. Hold on now. It is not that what's in Jamaica what's in Jamaica, which is very spiritual, is heading this way.
You mean what is in Haiti?
What is in Haiti
Oh.
is heading this way.
And if we don't see it and call it out,
And when you begin to see trained operatives riding on a bike, killing the man who designed the building for Bolt, Bolt in the middle of a takedown of a financial institution populated by the highest level of who's who in Jamaica.
you wonder what happened.
You don't have to wonder what happened.
You're connecting the dots.
I am connecting the dots, just like you were connecting the dots.
Let me tell you my connection at dots.
Yes, yes, yes.
You got it.
And please, we're not now talking about Bolt's architect being killed to keep Bolt silent.
No.
We're
The wider thing in terms
may
of
be
the
so,
breakdown
but I'm
in
not
law
saying
and
that
order.
absolutely.
That's a bigger issue here. The
Absolutely.
breakdown in law and order
Yeah.
across the board in
Yeah.
terms of people that you expect to abide by the rule and they are just doing their own thing.
The gates are wide open.
As the
people.
man says in Judges, everybody's that was right in their
And
own.
Israel had no king and everyone did what
was
was right in their own
And
eyes.
that is not a good commentary, you
Yeah.
know, because you have the things should say that you have kings and people in place, but it don't look that way. Everybody just doing their thing because a breakdown in law and order.
Yeah.
And it comes from the fact that
it's an internal rot.
yeah, and
It's an internal rot. So it's not as if I want to capture it just right in how I express it, because we may be thinking we're going to help Haiti, but we have to fix what's here
first,
even as we are helping, because it's a spirit that is running amok in Haiti, and its purpose is not to be content with Haiti. It's heading this way, but it only finds. It's like how we talk about the eye gate, ear gate, guarding the gates. It will only gain purchase in our soil if our gates are open, and our gates are wide open right now.
let me just say, let me take it another level that we just need to understand. Righteousness exalts a nation, sin is a reproach. If you follow what happened with God setting the kings in place, no, not the kings, after they had come into their promised land and they were doing their own thing, Joshua left. Joshua was the last known leader. And then it like everybody was doing them own thing. They must run amok. And it says everybody was doing what was right in their own eyes. And you know what it was? Because they walked not in the paths that were given to them, and they decided to do their own thing, to do their own system of justice. And it just was amok. It just ran amok. Amok. Everybody did amok.
You love that word.
Amok.
That's the birthday word. I give it to you.
No, but it was just out of order.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we are saying, just looking at it, we really need to establish order, go back to first principles, and we begin to write there. But first principles means that you need to repent.
Yes.
You need
Accept
to
responsibility and repent.
So even in terms of the SSL, which has so much wider thing, it is a reflection of the deeper rot, not amok, that is happening.
Yeah.
And it had to come to the fore that way that we can stop and say to ourselves, okay, it's like you ask her, you put a fox to watch
The hen house.
the hen house. You can't do that. And then the unmitigated, just free for all. Okay,
Yeah.
2 Jamaicas, one justice system. That like I put my money, I say, there is the rules that apply for you don't apply for me, so I can't do anything I want. Even though there are systems in place that's supposed to safeguard. Yes, sister, so it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming to us.
It's coming to us. It's coming to us.
The first tendrils are already here.
Yeah.
And it was not about Jamaica being a transshipment point or whatever. No, Jamaica has allowed certain things to erode to the point where the gates are open.
Yeah.
So now it can come in.
It's
But
free
guess
for
what?
all.
Gates can go back up overnight,
Yeah. It can. It
It's-
can.
this is
It
not-
will.
yeah.
It can and it will.
And this is where now you focus on recognizing
What
the
it is.
spiritual elements of it, that it's not a construction project where you have to draw material and wait certain days for cement to set. No, it can go back overnight by your just shifting your position. But the leadership of the country is critical in recognizing.
Leadership.
Yeah,
leadership.
and not just political leadership.
All leadership
All leaders
across the
everywhere.
sector. But
that
you made an
yeah.
important point. Everybody saying church. But now the church has to rise to the occasion
Yes.
and to begin to say,
And know that
thus
it is its
say
season.
the Lord, this is how it's going to go. We
Yes.
fix it and allow the other things
Yeah.
to happen. And they now come back. 3 months ago, we spoke about repentance. What can we do? Remember, what can we
Yes.
do? What can we do? Stop the
Collectively.
delay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need
What's
to
the, yeah, I had posed the question to you, what is one thing that we could do?
Let me tell you, that's what we need to do. It
yeah.
shifts everything.
Well, they're going to be in 14 churches.
Yes,
The whole island.
we
Going
cover
to
it.
have the justice minister there and whatever entourage
Yeah.
they flow with. Still, you know, when I say these things,
8:30.
oh, it's 8:32. Are we on air? Or we're on break? And Percy and I are just chatting. Let's take our break.
Yeah, that's
You're on
simple.
break? Okay. I thought it. Lowell, I wish I could draw what I saw.
You saw something in the spirit a while ago? One pen there.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Welcome back. And in the world of political satire and cartoons that make sense, last May is on a similar point. He has the prime minister now permanently carrying the sledgehammer of the what's the name of that park? He hasn't put down his sledgehammer.
Or
Probably
when it
went
was
to tear down the
the
houses.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Why they not?
There's gonna come a point when the cartoonist won't know. I mean, he'll spend his whole time dressing the prime minister because he's adding so many embellishments to depict the story of his reign.
So there's the
Because there's
one
so
down,
the map is one
chair,
down bell,
the
yes,
Clarks,
the Clarks,
the
the
Brogard
Brogard
hat,
hat,
and the
and
sledgehammer.
the sledgehammer.
One
Please,
man can have all of them things.
yeah, but if you're gonna wear your story on your body, you have to limit the stories,
Oh, jeez.
or else we won't even be able to see him. But the cartoon is saying, my friends, I'm prepared to send our security forces to Haiti to sort out their continued violence, while Madam Public and even the police is looking at our own violence in Jamaica. The citizen is on the run. It's actually a good. This one is a full commentary on the absurdity. Yeah, on the absurdity of Jamaica proposing to assist with curbing violence in Haiti. It is. I mean, even to me, but back to the point. I see that something is kind of rubbing its hands and congratulating itself on Haiti and saying, I've done a good job here. Next, and I see something heading this way. Heading this way. That's what I see. And I look at the killing reported on the front page of the Gleaner of that architect responsible for designing a very beautiful building.
Not only that, he's done some other wonderful.
And has done great work. And the way in which he was assassinated, murdered in the streets, tells me that the first visitor from that direction, I'm not saying Jamaica doesn't have its own demons, we have plenty. But a new creature has arrived. And as you say, the church is being activated by the politicians. It should be the other way around. But nobody is leaving the church out of its configuration these days. Percy, you need to go and tell them that the quality of the enemy has changed. This is not the Jamaican duppy that we're accustomed to frightening, and we've been rubbing shoulders with those duppies for a long time now. We're quite used to how they work and their own methodology. Demons every demon have their own thing, not true?
They do, but they say.
Yes. Well, a new one is coming to Jamaica. Now we need to be ready.
The truth is, I am so glad as it speaks about in Ephesians, making an open show of principalities and powers and demons and ruler spirits in high places. He doesn't use a different playbook. It's the same playbook that mixing with fear and violence and all of those things. So now what we need to do now is understand the victory and step up to the plate. One of the things that I have often said to individuals, understand your authority and know your power and be willing to fight. Be willing to fight. Be willing to fight, be willing to fight and have the knowledge to fight. Because some of the times you are fighting without the knowledge. Says no, equipping yourself with the knowledge and the wisdom, the knowledge and the understand that comes from him. Because he knows everything. There is nothing that is hidden from him. And so, as I said, go and tell the church. The church needs to understand what is happening and use the knowledge that comes from him in order to destroy these enemies that have morphed into something else or seeking to do a different thing.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's look at it. Let's stand above it. Look down. You saw the chaos that was in Venezuela. Oil and money can't done. Or so we thought.
Yes, that's true.
See the chaos that reigned in Venezuela. Seemed to be settling. Haiti has always had a certain level of but it has hit a new high, I would say, at this point. But as you see, there's a resolution that is coming for Haiti, because if you look at the life cycle of a thing, even demons feed up on what is there and then move on and just leave the wreckage behind. Haiti is coming to that point when it will sort of either implode or explode. It's been boiling and boiling and boiling, and things have happened which to us seem to be quite disastrous, but where for them it's par for the course. But it's hitting a crescendo because all the things that fueled it, some of which we are seeing here already, all the things that fueled it, it's like the accelerant is being burnt out. Whatever it is that was driving it is being consumed. The reports of gang violence and so on, we know that it's always mixed in with citizens. We call them gangs, but they're really citizens, they're still citizens who have taken a certain course to satisfy what may have started off as legitimate needs and concerns. And then, haywire. Yes, because every time you address a real problem in a bad way, you open a gate for other spirits to join the party. That's really what happens.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you open a gate, you're bored, you decide that you're tired of this ho-hum existence. You spice things up with a little drugs, whatever, alcohol, whatever it is. Decide to. You open a gate, and the moment that gate opens, other things rush in.
And then one of the other things that has emerged, even our own thing, is the obeah that has been tied into the things.
And Haiti don't have it. They're not short of it.
They're not short of it.
Yeah.
And so now we know what it is, and so we know what our weapons are. We're talking from the Christian side. We have to fight it. Yeah, we have to fight it, man.
But I have to take a break and just acknowledge a certain queen who is online with us, Michelle Obama.
Her name is Palmer.
Michelle Palmer, another great woman. Michelle Palmer saying, good morning, Team TMC. Special happy birthday to Pastor Percival Palmer, coming from your darling wife and children. And she gives some googly-eyed love eyes thing that I can't deliver to you. I can only show you. And she says, and I better read this in a proper tone, we are so, so proud of the man that you are. The wind beneath our wings. We are who we are because of you. Blessings ongoing today and always, and love and kisses are sent. Followed right behind it is Big Truck saying, happy birthday, Pastor Percy. He says, Pastor Percy, you have not stepped up to the plate. You failed your congregation. That is not part of the greeting, Big Truck. You got to learn how to give a greeting.
I don't know what Big Truck talking about.
Church, man. Church.
Oh.
Church. You are acknowledged to be the representative of the church on this team.
Oh, Lord, me dear.
Yeah. But in all fairness, yes, the leaders of the church need to grow a new spine and step into their power. But if you represent church leader, I represent believer, congregant. And both of us have work to do.
That is true.
Both those who are leading from the pulpit
and those who are part of the congregation.
Who are a part of it, because when you give the marching orders, the members in the pew have to move out into the society and manifest, do what it is that we need to do. Right.
But what is saying, because I must acknowledge, that in some ways we have failed. We have not discipled and done the things that we should have done in a significant way. Because I said to people all the time, the centers tell us that between a Saturday and a Sunday, 50 or 60 persons are in a congregation before. So if that is so, then it's supposed to be affecting the very fabric of the nation. Things like corruption, things like
Yes.
crime and
Yeah.
violence.
Yes, so that's 50 or 60 households in a community within the radius of the church.
100, yeah. So
And then if you have how many churches?
well,
Yeah, whole heap churches. That's whole heap households.
yeah, but if
And
we
those are the same people
Yeah.
who are sitting in the jobs where the things are
that
going on.
yeah, and that
So
is
how we
my
not
point.
convert? Yes.
That's my point, I'm saying, remember I
Yeah.
said it early,
Yes.
because we talk
I'm-
about corruption in government. The
absolutely
permanent
with you on
secretary
that.
is somebody, they are the financial officer of the ministry, and them sign off on the thing.
Yeah.
If them don't stop it, you see one of the guys who try to stop it, them say them go never land. And give him a title that is not
Yes.
on the thing.
Yeah.
And he has to be fighting. Remember that?
I do remember.
Because he
Yeah.
is saying, him say, no, but what is
But
this?
you know, you're saying two things though, and I know it's your birthday and it's free flowing Thursday, so you have license to be contrary. But we have to we have to contain the contrariness. On the one hand, you're saying that those in the pews, the me and yous, well, not you, because you're in the pulpit. Those in the pews must go out and in their jobs do the right thing.
Yes.
But then you say, when they do the right thing, they get sent into never, never. So right there, so now you're telling me, well, just know
That's when
if
you
you
do
want
want
to
to
buy
right-
food and pay rent, you can't bother do the right thing, or you have to hide and do it.
Or not go ahead and do it, or stand up. If my personal belief, if
Use-
more people
Use the corruption hotline tip.
and do the thing, but if
And
more
do
people
it.
stood up and said, no,
Yeah.
minister, no, they would have look and say, but that one they can't pass. And if we go there, so
If you go there,
they
say you can't.
pass.
That's
if you
how
go
you lock the
anywhere,
gate.
you
That's how
just
you
lock
lock
the
the
gate. If you go anywhere
how
at
you lock the
all,
gate.
it's like when you walk up into a brick wall. You
Yes.
walk, and everybody said, minister. Everybody said, minister. No.
You can't fire everybody
Yeah.
more than one or two times.
Yes.
After a while, you either can't get anybody to work with you, or it can start look like, hold on,
Well,
why him team a
that
change so often?
often, yeah.
Something is wrong.
Yeah.
But and thank you, Big Truck. I know what you're saying here, but in the final analysis, it comes back to us because we are more in numbers than the one or two pastors.
Yeah. And
No
that is,
matter
and-
how you cut it,
yeah, there's a,
the
and
general population
it's more.
more of us.
So therefore, which is what Enlighten says all the time about our people, and that we need to just change our mindsets and become, and we've been saying take greater responsibility as to how we do things and change how we do things. 'Cause it is in our hands now, gentle people. What do you think?
It is in our hands. I agree with you.
It is in our hands.
And it's time we did something
yes,
with it and
time.
stop complaining about lack of leadership.
No, man. Let the leadership rise up from the pews now.
So again, I say, look to the ants.
Yes. No, it's not a joke, Not a joke. It's not a joke. That I went and looked at it again last night. The ants. No, man.
Just
them said,
amazed
yeah,
by it. I'm
yeah.
telling everybody, find one of those videos and look at it.
The
Look
ants.
at a colony of ants building a bridge in midair. I don't mean they start in midair.
No,
They start from a fixed point,
and they see them going.
and they use their bodies to
And
create
the bridge.
clinging to each other. Be sure one or two drop.
Yeah. And you see it, one or two drop, but
Yes,
they don't.
but they cling to each other in order to get somewhere for which they have no frame of reference. They just know that we have to get past this. There are some things that Jamaica has to get past, and we're only going to get past
Together.
it if we have that courage to do it together, to trust that you can hold on to your neighbor and your neighbor hold on to the other one, and all together. And just know if one or two drop, we mourn them and we complete the mission.
Yeah, but it's,
All right. I started by making a comment about the traffic offenses, because I think we do need to look at the offenses and be clear we understand them. A big thing is ignorance of the law is no defense. These strict liability offenses which are created under the
Act.
Road Traffic Act, it's best that you spend some time and get to know them, and don't try to learn it through social media.
Although some
part of
people
the
trying to help. Some people trying to help. Like yesterday, somebody got a ticket for phone, using the phone, it's supposed to be hands-free, so you can't use it, and first to send it. First, man. And Spanish don't
Got a
always say,
ticket for it?
yes,
Yes? Yeah.
So I have
Yeah.
to be so conscious. So I'll stick it in the thing that I have. So no, me not have no. And then if we catch your phone, no, it's safe. I go in the
Yeah.
car, stick it there.
But I mean, the real mischief with that, is not whether it's in your hand, although when it's in your hand, clearly you're compromised. But it's being distracted, it's driving while distracted. But I say it can be speaking on the phone, because there are some places that would take it far. No speaking on the phone.
There are some places that do that.
Yeah,
Countries?
they started. Yeah, that's how they started, and it didn't matter if you had a system in your car. But in the early days,
Yeah.
in the early days, that's what it was. I'm not giving you flowers. In the early days, that's what it was. But it's the distraction that it presents. But if you're driving with someone in your car or listening to music, or that can be a distraction too.
Okay, yeah, I
So
see
it,
it
so
happen.
it makes that part of it would make no sense. But I really believe that people with the phone caught up in their neck, it's still hands free. You've seen persons with the phone like this and driving. Bad idea. That one was that one is like seatbelt law.
Yeah.
Long overdue. Put down the phone. Put
But
a
you-
holder in your car.
But you raise a point, and I was wondering if you were pulling my leg or not when you said that if
You cut it
somebody
in your neck?
No,
Oh.
no, the one that you said that somebody getting a ticket for
On the pump?
on the pump.
Yeah.
And you said, but
That's private property. That's not road.
so how them are going to enforce it? Say somebody can go test it then. Get a ticket. Okay, test like what? So, but you know the thing. Yeah, how
Yeah,
that?
that one is an excess of zeal, because really you're gonna set policemen to guard pump
People that-
station.
Yeah, but I said, no, but when you said it, I figure you were pulling my leg.
No. I've used that defense.
No, but okay, I understand that.
Not for the pump, I've used for a client the defense that the Road Traffic Act does not apply because the event didn't take place on the road. When you have motor vehicle negligence claims, no, lawyers had got into the habit of just saying breach of every single thing, breach of the Road Traffic Act, because like an accident takes place in a car park.
Yes.
And in order to show the person's negligence, they begin to list all the things that they breach, including the Road Traffic Act that sets a rule about how people navigate when they're driving a car. But a keep left, keep right law of the road applies on the road. Don't apply in a parking lot. So if you go in a parking lot, for example, and there's a sign or somebody trying to tell you that you can't exit that way, or you can't. Those are just rules that the owners set on how they want the flow to go. If a security guard, for example, telling me that you can't drive that way, I ignore him if that is the best way.
So the rebel comes out. Go ahead.
Yes, because there are some guards who behave like traffic cops. When there's a clear path for something, but because it says keep left. If you put keep left on your property, is that a sign under the Road Traffic Act?
I don't know.
It isn't, unless you're not part of the governmental system that manage the road. But if it's on private property, it's not under the Road Traffic Act. Basic.
So how you keep the order in the place, like the flow, like
And that's one of the reasons too why. First, you make it practical and sensible.
if it's
So
practical.
people are drawn to it. People
Okay.
can see that it makes sense.
True.
I think the case I was doing is, motorist A was wanted to go one way in the parking lot, like you're coming through a mall and you want to go one way, and somebody else who is accustomed to it flowing one way challenges you with their car, an accident.
Okay. So like there's a major thoroughfare, major store, Waterloo, it says when you're coming out, keep left, you can't
Yes.
go across the jacket.
Right.
So if the person cuts cross the traffic. And
On
there's
the road?
yeah,
No, once you enter the road traffic act takes over.
because it says on the thing, there's a sign that says you can't
Yeah.
turn right coming out.
Yeah,
So
that is for information. That is not a government sign.
thought it was a government sign.
No, if it is on your property saying no left turn because it's a one way and you have to go right, that's for your information. So you don't put yourself in danger entering the road
Because
badly.
I've seen some accidents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And in truth, it should be, even when the planning authorities should ensure that an exit, that's why you send them your plan to show them how you design your place. They should ensure that the exit is designed in such a way that it pushes the traffic in the direction that is permissible by law.
okay.
So like your property exits onto the highway, onto the roadway, but the road is a one way going left. You shouldn't have just an open flared exit as if you could turn right.
Oh, you do it. Okay, I see what you're saying.
It should be curved so that the traffic drivers can't go right. And when your plans go in for approval, they should make sure that that is captured in the design, because they are responsible for guarding how traffic flows from private land onto public space.
You know, that is a very interesting thing. So this is how law and order
Thank you.
works in this country. So everybody sees what they're doing as a part of the maintenance of law
Thank
and
you.
order in the country.
Yes.
So
And that's
when
how the rule of law
law
becomes
becomes-
the supreme guiding force. Because you would never create a situation coming out of your own place that is going to contradict the law that operates in that space.
Because, and so,
And,
so
and maybe you just put up a sign and say, all right, what about the man who might have an impairment?
yeah, because that's serious, you know, because this is how we've been talking about the parish council election as to why it is so important that it is kept.
Very
because
important.
it is the maintenance of the law and the order in the land that at a certain point in time,
Local level, by the people who know.
know.
When your plan go to a parish council in St. Anne, and there is a councillor seated on that council that come from the area where them a plan to build the building.
Can't
And
set
him
it.
said, no, it can't go so because my so-and-so having called them that come out this way. Or you're supposed to know what's important in your community constituency. And that level of involvement and consultation is important.
Is crucial. That is
Yep.
why you remember the caller yesterday was talking about how they have been neglected. Can nobody not take them in? So therefore, we see how it connecting us. Some of the times you see things and say, no, that don't make no sense. And then central government do what they want to do and don't take
Yes,
into
they're up
consideration.
here. Okay, I give you a case in point.
Because
then. When I
you
come back, I give you the personal case in point.
No, sir.
Yeah.
It's all tied in.
There's a logic to it. English people.
Government, 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 yes, government, yes. Now we're just talking about the whole thing of law and order and the local government versus central government and how it is important for local government to do what they must do because they understand what the local conditions are. Because a lot of times what happens is that government is making national policy and programs and they don't know what people local realities are. And it drives it a certain way without taking into consideration what are the local realities.
Material considerations. And you know, it's not about keeping things frozen in the past. It's about creating like a path, a glide path for change that is inclusive and efficient in terms of its impact on people. So here's my personal experience. There was a one pump gas station and a bakery in the community next to where I'm from. And it came on the market, and I was able to sell something and buy and purchase it. And the idea we had when we purchased it was to develop what could be a community center, restore the single pump gas station because there is no gas station between K Valley and Spalding's. I mean, people have to, it's a hardship, let's put it that way. So that was the idea we had. Got the draftsman to do some plans because it's really a restoration effort. On that stretch of road, all the buildings are built right up to the roadside.
You step out from the yard.
Step out right in the road.
The road, right.
If somebody come to you with a car, then just pull up right at the edge of the building. Good. So we're in a kind of a corner. Actually, we're at the end of the corner where the straightway begins, and we send for approval. We send for approval of the plans to do the restoration. We submitted it in St. Anne, but it made its way to Kingston under the centralized NAA whatever thing. The plans come back with some stipulations. The one that caught my attention, and you know you had to send it within, you had to submit it with like $120,000. I remember that. The plan came back with a stipulation that the building must meet. It said the building is in breach of the current regulation. It requires like a 20 foot from the center of the road setback.
Yeah, but what about the rest of the building then?
Every other building on the road is in breach. And because I want to do something with mine, I must tear it down. Essentially, when I look at it, I say, but how would you accomplish that? You'd have to tear it down. So it has been sitting there frozen with the money that we submitted still in government hands for all these years. This was from was it about 2006 or 7, Lowell? It's about from 2006 or 7.
That's a long time.
This has just been sitting there with me not having the time or the energy to go up against central government. Now, if it fell to be decided by the St. Anne municipality, the councillor from my area, who knows the conditions of all the buildings along the way,
on the road,
right, would say, but that's nonsense. You're gonna do what? Tear down all of the buildings?
Probably that's what they wanted to do. Probably that was the intention. For real. No, it could be.
But so that's my point is local government is very important for a number of reasons, not the least of which is the representatives know the lie of the land and the people and would be motivated to see that justice is done.
Representation.
Yes. If I were putting up a new building, sure, you could tell me
because
it to meet this condition. And then the next time somebody buy, because I think the neighboring land is owned by somebody else that I know as well. The next time when they're making a change and they tear down theirs, you introduce it and so on. That's how you introduce change into a community. You don't just be brutish in how you're doing things.
You call it brutish. I remember somebody told me in terms of leadership that what happens a lot of times is that people trying to bring about change and they go like this and break it. But instead of you they're leading and you're guiding the thing slowly, so before you know it,
glide.
you glide and it changes and you're going, oh, we've changed direction, we've moved away from there. But most people, in order to enact change, they break the thing and so on. And it can't be that way. It can't be that way. And what we are presently seeing in our situation, oh boy. Some things you have to do it, like SSL, 22. You do that and fix it. Now it becomes, I don't know what it is, but I just get a sense that the ripple effect of it is going to be far and wide in this country.
And it's well needed.
Yeah, it's far and
We,
wide
we,
in
we
this
can't
country.
shrink from it or feel that for the longevity or the sustainability of the sector, you need to sweep it under the carpet. I pray that nobody believes that that is the right way to address it. When things come out, you have to address them in the open and introduce the right fix, or you're going to be walking a recurring path.
Do you think that in regards to what has happened, we know SSL tried to wind up and government stopped it, and everyone put in a temporary person, that person became a receiver on behalf of the government. You think there's any report that somebody online asked us yesterday, is there a report anywhere? You remember the gentleman said if there's a report in terms of you think there's an actual report
yeah,
there?
we were trying to find out if he was referring to a new report over and above the other reports. But remember, I was saying to you that when the manager goes in and the manager reports to whomever he regard, FSC put him in, he reports to the FSC.
Okay.
When he makes his report is first going to be confidential, of course. And the next step is going to be for FSC under their new management, their whether it's an interim board or, I would say what's there now is an interim board. You couldn't call it other than that. Then you would be getting things coming out. Within what timeline, who knows? Because the government is right now being very careful about not causing a panic. And maybe there are things in it that would be a source of alarm. There must be things that would be a source of alarm.
And,
yeah.
And then in the paper, the editorial today with the Gleaner, it says, publish all FSC stroke SSL reports. And it speaks to dribble of information, speaks about more definitive action.
But, I don't agree with that. There is no entitlement the public can claim to have in private and confidential reports on an institution's operations. None. That would be like saying, if I commit an offense, I lose my right to privacy. I lose my constitutional rights to even maintain silence in the face of certain type of allegations. And these are the kinds of things that we have to be careful of. That, see, we talk about when your foot is on the enemy's neck, how do you treat him? With dignity, humanity, and mercy. You never get to the point where, because there you find evidence of sin.
Malfeasance.
We use a nice old-fashioned word. Yeah, malfeasance. Because you found evidence of it, everything is open. Can't be. No.
So how we'll ever know what happened? How will ever know what happened? Transparency, accountability. To who? The question is, you are saying if a report is done, instead of publishing, you are trusting, you are believing that the people who get the report will do the right thing.
Will do the right thing with it. And whatever is fit for sharing, you share it.
For airpay, they do it?
Yes. What is supposed to guide your next steps, you use it.
Okay.
And your next steps should be a sufficient signal to the population, to the citizens, that you are restoring order.
But the question coming up, Minetti.
Yeah.
There's so much mistrust.
But when you begin to legislate based on the absence of trust, you're creating a whole different kind of problem for yourself. Because human relationships and living and working together, it has to require trust and confidence at some level. I mean, just think about it. If you have to legislate based on a lack of trust, if you have to exist in a relationship based on a lack of trust, how miserable that must be.
You just know that it is there, so you not trust anything them say you I pray.
No, I mean, just think about that.
Agree and saw somebody tell you something and you say, should I believe that?
How do you make a decision?
It becomes very difficult.
So we don't want to live like that. So we don't want to reduce our society to that.
Probably need to do that to get the real healing. Burn it down and then build up back.
Yeah, but you have to build it back.
Yeah, what the question is, how far you go? This is again where the wisdom of God comes in. Let me share something. I remember watching this thing online and they were talking about Singapore, which everybody says no corruption and so on. And the guy says early out what they did, one of the ministers went on some holiday and thing, and they made it open to him, should not have received. And say after that everybody just fall in line. It just came to mind. I'm wondering, how do we really fix the problem of major lack of trust and the corruption and all other things? How do we fix it? What prescription are you making?
There's no easy fix. And so even a prescription, it would be a long list of things that you need to do, most of which we've been talking about all along. Conrad just wrote something that I'm going to answer it even in the context. He says, if you are transparent, nothing in the dark. If you are transparent, nothing in the dark, open book. Transparency is not about trust. Transparency is about best information for best decision making. So having a system that promotes transparency, it's not a system built on the absence of trust. Do you understand? Yes. So transparency is key.
What?
And persons should know that I'm not asking you to be transparent about your dealings because I don't trust you. I'm asking it so we have the best information
to make the best decision.
To make the best decision.
Correct.
So your systems should promote transparency.
What decisions can the Jamaican public make anyway? Just the people who are being...
Yeah, but that's why we call for transparency. So that's an important part. And the code of conduct. And the first fix, is just recalibrating the moral consciousness.
That's the first
thing.
Because so people know, like when we were talking about the guy from Hanover who was saying, me not thief the money. You remember that? Yes. He said, me not thief the money.
Yes.
But he thought because he never thief the money, he never did anything wrong.
It was on. So the moral consciousness has
to say that you can't do that. If you're in this, but you can't do that. It don't even think about it. All right.
I was teaching a class.
Moral consciousness?
I was teaching a class on explaining fiduciary relationship and the responsibilities that flow from it. So it was a group of paralegals. And I was explaining to them that lawyers are fiduciaries. And as a consequence, if you work with someone who has fiduciary duties, your behavior and how you do your work must be informed by the same standards.
Correct. You can understand that.
Yes. So the example I gave was, I said, if you, through the work you do for your attorney, discover that there is a subdivision taking place and the lots are available cheap, and you can get in early, it would be a breach of your duty to go and approach the client directly and say, boy, I see you selling land, can I buy a lot? Even though you're going into it asking no favors, with your own money, it would be a breach of your fiduciary, your responsibility to your attorney to make that deal, because it would give the attorney the impression now that you are vulnerable to the client whose land you are buying. The client might say, since a human may give you a 10% break, you get a discount. You didn't ask for it, but you get a discount. Next thing you know, the client is calling you directly to move this here, move that there. I need to see the lawyer tomorrow. You know that 10 clients are ahead of him. You see how it goes? Before you know it, you've compromised your own position.
Wow.
And that's what we're talking about.
So what you do another thing? Don't bother accent?
Don't ask. Wait until the lawyer client piece of it is finished. You wait until it is finished before you even embark on that kind of, yeah.
Okay.
And what you find
So
is,
what you're saying is that you wait until the process instead of putting yourself in the process before it finishes.
yeah, you run the risk of making yourself vulnerable. Why bother? You know about it, you wait. You may say to the attorney, when the scheme is finished, I want to buy one.
To let them know.
Let them
upfront.
know.
So you're transparent.
Yeah, be transparent.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
now understand. So transparency becomes very, very important. Okay, all right. So transparency meaning that the book open, then anybody can come and look and say it's all right. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
So you've given us your prescription.
Yes, and there's a case for that too. There's a case for that too, because I remember being a part of, there was a company director who was negotiating to engage a contractor to build a hotel in Jamaica here. And he selected a contractor, but then he entered into a borrowing relationship with the contractor, borrowed money from the contractor. The hotel, the construction project ran into trouble, and before you know it, the company discovered that the director had borrowed money.
The one that's a big thing in the
Palmyra.
Palmyra, yeah.
And you know, the court held that the loan was really a bribe, and the man lost the house that he had used the money to. He had invested it in a property that he had in Montego Bay. And the court ordered that the property now belonged to his employer.
That's a contractor?
No, I told it in code, but since you already know.
Yeah, because it was out in the,
it was in the media. Yes.
Yeah, it was in the media.
The company director borrowed money from the Chinese contractor that he engaged
to do the thing.
To build the property. He said he borrowed it to invest in something else. When the thing collapsed and they're picking through the dust to see what happened, the loan was discovered. And the court ruled that the loan was really a bribe. And it was a breach of his fiduciary duties to enter into any money relationship
with the
same contractor that he would have had to supervise and oversee their work building the hotel.
So that's case law. So it become case law now.
Yes.
Let me learn the law.
So when we talk about how you draw information to form your opinions on things, I just reached for, that's why I did it. I just reached for a decision of a Supreme Court judge of Jamaica to say, this principle that I'm advocating to you is a sound principle. The courts have held it to be so. If you follow that course of conduct that you are embarked on, you're going to end up in court and you'll lose your house.
Yeah, but as you talk about that, you talk to paralegals. You talk to paralegals so they understand the law. But to the common man in the street, in terms of, because that would be deemed corruption, wouldn't it?
Aye, that's where I was going to bring it to you now. That same principle applies in relation to every public officer or even commercial officers in private enterprise who get themselves into relationships with the people that they meet in the job.
But let me share.
The same thing applies, and take money and make decisions and so on.
Because remember, I shared with you earlier when I was in business operating, and one time, because there were two of us in operation who use a certain chemical, and what happened was that I was approached by a person who said, I brought this in for your competitor.
Yes.
And the competitor never wanted it. So he came to me and said, do you want it? What I'll do for you How much you buy it for? I say, me tell him, and I say, okay. And it was less than what would normally buy it for. So him say, all right, here's how this deal works. Nobody don't need to know. You just take you just take the thing from the individual. So they put it in. So normally I'd buy it for $12. He wanted me to take it for $7 because it would have covered his costs and thing. So I still buy it for the $12 from him, but the $5 him said, that's yours on the table. That's
Not
corruption.
interested.
I said, no, me tell him, so what you say?
You couldn't sleep.
I said to him, Bridget, what you say? So him said to me, but me think me never did hear right. So I said, no man, if the company can we just purchase it for you at the thing. So
yeah, keep your $5.
You keep your $5.
Yes.
Yeah, you keep your $5.
Yeah.
Because I never want it here.
Yeah.
So Percy go do that and thing and cause the problem to happen. So it's kind of serious. You know, so this thing in terms of, but what are the other prescriptions that you have? What were the other prescriptions?
No, I wanted to just leave it there because people need to think about what it takes for them to reject their moral.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that to fix the challenges that we have to do a calibration of our morals in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And if we do that, it would have such a widespread change in terms of everything that would be better off.
All right.
Be better off as a people.
Good morning, Mr. Tony.
And so we come up on the 9:30 break.
Oh, we're taking it early it's because you want to get a birthday handshake. Good morning. This is a first.
Thank you very much, sir.
Our great leader has visited.
The 2nd
of February.
You missed the whole day. Yeah, Pastor Percival is getting greetings. Have we gone on break for true? Oh,
okay.
Because I know some person's camera shy.
I never know what was happening.
All right, when we come back from the break, we can do it. But I do want to look at the increased fines and the new offenses because some of them might surprise you, and we don't want you to
go to court with it.
We don't want you to be in shock. This is a big one. So this is the first one I'll mention. A motorist who fails to yield the right of way to an emergency vehicle will be fined $25,000. We'll talk separately about how they're going to catch these offenders.
If the man a year or not. Probably not year,
We are actually on break now. Back, we're in the final stretch. We have a very esteemed guest in the house, but he's refusing to come on air. I wish Tony would occasionally sit with us, but and more than sit, talk with us.
They talk.
Because not only is the story and the determination of the man legendary,
You have to write the story. Me help him write the
you know,
story.
but
Yeah.
you're using a ghostwriter for your story.
So
You're going to be a ghostwriter
that's
for Tony.
Tony.
I doubt it, but I wanted to wrap up with a review of the new offenses because
That's some serious thing, you know, sis.
yeah,
We have
even-
offense for $150,000.
And even look at what it means that there are these new offenses because the practicality of the legislation is something that you also have to think about. All right, so a motorist who fails to yield the right of way to an emergency vehicle will be fined $25,000. If it's an emergency vehicle, you know that vehicle not going to stop.
Very good.
If not, it couldn't be an emergency.
vehicle.
But it's good to know that those persons who misbehave in that way, the law is looking at you. For this to work, though, it would mean you need to have a lot more cameras eyeballing the space than we currently have.
But this one I think is where driving a vehicle closer than 50 meters behind an emergent or stopping a vehicle would attract a fine of 5,000. Because you notice, you have ever seen it? You see the emergencies we're going through and a taxi man just tailgate him, you know.
Yes, but are you applying your mind, as I am forcing you to how some emergency vehicles have cameras all around that would can capture a picture of what's around it? What are we doing really with some of these offenses? Yes, so this one, driving closer than 50 meters behind an emergency vehicle.
You have to have the
Dear
something.
Lord, is who going to measure the 50 meters?
We can measure.
Tailgating an emergency vehicle.
I think
is-
that's,
yeah. Or we don't, anyway. So that's number 2. That's a cheap one, $5,000. A motorist who uses a wireless communication device while driving, as well as smoke marijuana, while attempting to or driving, will attract a fine of $10,000.
Hello.
Marijuana as opposed to cigarette. Is there some science behind the connection between marijuana smoking and driving? All like that one is foolishness in Parliament.
You mean smoke marijuana?
Specifically marijuana while attempting to. You know, I don't know what they mean by attempting to. What would you? The vehicle is slowly moving.
Yeah, smoke.
And what? And you're slowly moving.
Yeah, smoke a spliff. That's what them say.
And the attempting to part. Oh, which policeman will tell you you're attempting to drive? Oh, you're sitting behind the wheel. The car is on.
But a lot of people are driving and smoking.
But maybe you just stop driving. Attempting to drive and having
smoking.
stopped driving
That's
can
totally
look
different.
alike. But they look alike. Anyway, that's just hilarious. We need to stop demonizing marijuana, though. Really, of a fact. If you say smoking and driving is tobacco, I mean, does it include vaping? I'm not fighting for the smokers because I think smoking overall is just a disgusting, unhealthy habit. But I'm not trying to defend my right to smoke.
Okay.
But marijuana, instead of cigarette that you have in one hand, is it about impairing your ability to navigate with the car, or is it something in the mind about the mind? You understand what I'm saying?
I would figure in impairing your ability to.
So you have a cigarette. So you have this. Whatever you're smoking, you have it
to
in
drive
your
and
hand.
impairing your response. Third purpose, yeah, yeah. So I think that's what it is. Anyway,
Yes, but what is the impairment? Is it physical, meaning
Or
just like
mental.
holding the phone, take one hand out
losing the
of
pain. I think
Yes.
that's what it is.
But is there science about marijuana and driving? Just a question. You don't have to attempt to answer it. Number 4, motor cars and cycles whose muffler systems exceed 85 decibels will attract a fine of $10,000, while small trucks must not exceed 90 and large trucks 95 decibels. Well, glory to God for that one. And yeah. Yep, that's a good one.
You're gonna boo! I wake
Most
you
of
up
the
in the
time,
morning.
yes, but how you even gonna know? So it's the police we're depending on to hear them and drive them down, or you can know that your neighbor's vehicle is very loud and you just wait until it is parked.
No.
Get the particulars, and our citizens supposed to report it because I would happily report it.
You would, yeah, because you dep on roads. Your
Me
house is
deliver
so close.
roadside.
You're so close.
Yeah, okay. Number 5, motorcyclists will also be fined $10,000 for doing a wheelie on roads.
Me see it all the
Lord.
time, and you know see it. You know see it all. It becomes a regular thing now. Everybody pull up all the bicycle man them wheel and no sir.
But mostly they're gonna be finding the dead motorcyclists
No man. They're
after
not
they
dead.
wheelie and drop off and die.
No, nothing, sir.
How are they gonna be policing this? The
You know stop them. You
The
see that,
policeman have to see you do a wheelie.
Yeah.
So is which motorcyclists are gonna do a wheelie when the policeman is right there?
I've seen them do it all the time. Seriously.
When the policeman is right there.
Then the policeman come but then wheelie, so the policeman catch them in the act and then woo and then gone.
And then the policeman gonna spend his time driving down a wheelie.
Or say,
a wheelie. What they call it, operations.
Yeah, we have a man
Coming
who's
towards you.
wheelie.
So I saw him do a wheelie. Then you're gonna have to prove that the man who is caught in Crossroad is the same man who did the wheelie. Okay. I'm forming a view about this. People operating a vehicle that is not insured, a fine of $20,000. That makes sense. Operating a motor vehicle fitted with or which displays lamps emitting a blue light will attract a fine of $15,000. Very confusing, especially some of these security company vehicles and personnel who are posing off as policemen. Using a revolving lamp used to warn other motorists and indicate priority of movement traffic will attract a fine of $10,000.
It's a revolving lamp.
The same one where the police put on top of their car.
Okay.
You mean there are people who have one? Unlicensed driving schools can be fined up to $100,000 in the parish court, while failure to prominently display the valid license or certified copy of license of a driving school will attract a fine of $10,000. A fine of up to $300,000 or imprisonment for up to 6 months will be given for falsely advertising that a person is the holder of a license to operate a driving school. Boy, that seemed cheap compared to the danger. Just imagine you, anyway, that a driving school that don't have the skill and competence to produce trained drivers, churning out hundreds of drivers is a greater danger than any one motorist. But do you notice when it comes to imposing fines on corporations, the hand get light. Somebody who sets up a business falsely pretending to be qualified for what it is you're doing, and maybe even using unqualified persons. $300,000? Come on, that's light, if you ask me. Drivers who damage a road sign with a motor vehicle will be fined $50,000, while those who stop a motor vehicle at any point within 12 meters of either side of a bus stop sign erected on the same road will be fined $10,000. All right. A driver who damages a sign with a motor vehicle being fined $50,000 is just harsh. I'm going to assume that is an accident you have.
Yeah.
So on top of everything else.
So you go to away for lick down.
Yeah, and it's not intentional.
Yeah, 'cause it's an accident.
It's an accident.
But then they said this thing about 12 meters of what?
Of the bus station, the bus stop. I hope they have these, it's all marked out, where there's a stop line around the bus stops.
Yeah, but a motor vehicle. You remember one of the complaints that a lot of the taxi men have is that there's no place to drop off passengers. So the convenient place would be a bus stop. Because you
Yeah, but this is not being at the bus stop now. This is on either side of the bus stop. So if you stop at the bus stop, if they had one that say only bus can stop at the bus stop.
That's what I'm trying to understand if that it is.
No, this is to allow clear passage into and out of a bus stop.
Okay.
So nobody should be
so it means
stopping
that
there
a
or
taxi
parking
can
there.
go into a bus stop and stop, let our passengers and
Yeah,
move on.
yeah.
Okay.
If I were there, I would use the bus stop. Motorists carrying dangerous goods without the appropriate transport emergency cards and manifests, $250,000 in the parish court. Now look at that. One motorist carrying goods without the necessary,
Dangerous.
yes.
What are dangerous goods?
I would imagine it would be like fuel, inflammables.
Okay.
Um,
We carrying gas in the back of your car.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what they're saying. If you go to your gas finish
Mm-hmm.
and you go to buy a cylinder, the man can come, it says that.
Hey,
Yeah,
I don't know if household cooking gas is in the would
No,
be.
that's why I'm asking, because that's
Yeah.
what comes to
But
my mind. Your gas
dangerous goods
finish
would be, yes.
and it run out and the wife say, go, the gas finish you cook dinner, only just go down to, because in Stony Hill you have the
You have to get a
the
transport emergency card. You had better find out, because it sounds like you might be a frequent offender to come.
You understand? No, I'm just
Yes.
thinking about it
Yes.
because in the course of
But we
emergency
need to
and
check
yeah,
if cooking gas
is
is a dangerous good
That's why I'm saying
within
what
the meaning of
the dangerous, yeah.
the transport.
Because you see, because definitions have to be clear. Because if your cooking gas finish, and and they say me can't come until 2 days,
All right.
you know.
We're going to pick this up next week because we're within the zone of saying goodbye. And I think the point you're making is an important one. We should look at the act and see whether or not you can now go and buy cooking gas for your wife on your wife's command. Maybe that qualifies as a manifest, as an appropriate manifest. Your wife write you a note.
Oh, Jesus.
They say without
My wife
appropriate
said me no boss.
transport.
Are you want me to not sleeping on my bed tonight?
Can I tell you, 9 out of 10 policemen would say, all right, hurry home with it. Try not crash.
No, but the definition of what is a
The
dangerous,
goods.
yeah, it's a
Yes,
serious
within
thing.
this,
It's a serious thing.
Because again, if drivers transporting dangerous goods are not certified to do so, they will be fined. So your wife better know to give you a certificate as well as an emergency card and a manifest.
Oh my Lord.
Okay. You'll be fined $20,000 and $25,000 for transporting a passenger who is not appropriately qualified. So these are like for the tanker drivers. Here
Okay.
they're saying if you're if you're moving, like we know that liquid gases and whatever, those kind of things are
So you
inherently
go know.
dangerous.
So that means you can't carry a girlfriend tonight.
You can't carry your girlfriend in a tanker truck.
Producer, yeah, your girlfriend. So you pick her up and say, yeah, it's not long,
Yeah,
I need some
mommy.
company.
For me,
Oh my
your
Lord.
passenger must be appropriately qualified. But I'm a girlfriend. See,
No, it's like,
Oh.
they say it as jokes still, you know. But
Of
I
course.
know for a lot of these times, you know, you say, oh, about the lady in the car.
motorists who permit a person to travel or drive in or on a motor vehicle or trailer with parts of their body protruding beyond the sides or rear of the vehicle will be fined $5,000. How do you find them so low for those things that are so dangerous to life and limb? A load on a motor vehicle or trailer that projects more than 30 centimeters beyond the rear of the vehicle without the use of a required warning device to indicate the length or width of the projection will attract a fine
You
of
know what 30,
$50,000.
you know what 30 centimeters is? About 6 inches. You know?
I know, that's in some people's bottom.
No, hold on, no. Hold on, hold on, hold
I
on.
know. Market trucks with bottom with it.
Oh, wait.
It is Thursday.
No, but when you think about it, I can understand because you always see these transporting thing with the tractor on it and so on.
Yes.
But a 6 inches with the lady with her bottom out.
Oh.
No, we take these
This
things with
is
joy.
it's your birthday, that's why.
No man, but
yeah.
seriously.
People who do not tow a motor vehicle with a toll road using a tow truck will face
a monetary penalty of $20,000. I don't even understand that.
You don't understand what it is?
No, people who do not tow a motor vehicle on a toll road using a toll. Oh, they're saying
You can't toll,
tow,
so
a
you
rope
can't,
tow.
you can't do that. You
If
can't.
you're towing with a rope,
You
you
can't.
need to have a tow truck on the toll road.
How much people can afford? They say them giving the
Yes.
toll. Oh wow!
And that's just an extrapolation from produced by JIS actually, a summary of the
But
offenses.
the
I'm
law
gonna look
itself
at
is
the law.
160 pages.
Yeah, I'm gonna glance through it for you on the weekend. I'll come back on Monday with some insights.
No man,
on
we,
the-
we are make fun and joke out of it, but a lady with her 6 inches
Can be a man too, please. It's not only it's not it's not only women who have big bottoms. Oh, this is a blessed day. It looks like Pastor Miller in the house,
and
coming to greet his big son. He's right here. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Are we saying goodbye now? Because we have like 9 minutes to go. Have a great weekend, everyone. You know we treasure Free Flowing Thursday, though we don't get to speak to you. But today has been special. Many of you have sent birthday greetings for Pastor Percival. He will acknowledge you in a minute as we say goodbye.
what is happening? Where is that?
Michelle Palmer. A certain Michelle Palmer has said, I do not have the authority to give permission. Maybe I would be fined for trying to give him a permit to carry the dangerous substance in the car. And here I remind her that the Road Traffic Act only have power on the road.
Okay.
So if she's in her house writing a permit.
You know what we're saying? Maybe we should get a new look now. We become big truck. We should get a new parliamentarian just like
Like
big truck. Big truck,
All right.
big truck.
Yes.
Big truck is nothing. But
No,
big
man,
truck,
we're-
good
we're-
morning to you, big truck.
Oh,
Big
and
truck.
Earl Brown sent you happy birthday too. Please.
I've been getting that.
And he gave us some. Oh, listen, man. Earl says, move over law in Ontario fines are $400 to $2,000. Yield to transit buses laws, $167 to $340 plus court costs. There's a fine in Ontario if police and emergency vehicles are on the shoulder of the highway with lights flashing and the motorist does not change lanes. Yes, I can see those.
It's a dynamite.
Oh, like the dynamite is one of the dangerous goods.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, things like that.
The way how these
Lawmakers devise the laws must also be studied to see if the implementations of such encourage corrupt practices in the mix. Of course.
God, bro,
And that's the
bro, it's election time. I went my top about.
yeah, that is one of the things that we have to be mindful of. You're introducing new law, the whole sensitization. Much of the sensitization about the new Road Traffic Act, was about getting
People to pay.
delinquent, yes, drivers to pay their tickets, but just the training that is necessary. Anyway, we shall see. I'm sure all driving schools are bringing things into their training manual. And maybe some of us need to go get refresher courses before we go out on the road.
You know, as they talk about that, what they should do with the gentleman who had the 284 tickets. And with Cliff Hughes interviewing him, and he says, boy, that's a life going on. Me get a kid, me don't go drink a rum.
Yeah, that's what he
That's what
said.
he said, man. I said,
That's his
okay.
response to
man,
stress.
Just stress. I'm saying, oh, no. But the point I'm making is that we should also, in this period of new traffic law, anybody whose license you suspend, they should go back
For training, yeah,
for
man.
retraining and
Driver's ed.
Yes.
All right, Percy, you have the talking stick.
Boy, God
you
is-
finish the show.
God is great. God is good. God has been good to me and to my family. Again, just thank you for allowing me this opportunity and the privilege of serving with you and with the producer. But big up to my mother and my siblings and my wife, my children. You are a blessing to me. And it is so good to have you in my life. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
And that's it for It's a wrap. Have a great weekend, everyone.